Hi, everybody. It's me, Melody. Welcome. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, and share button. So, I had to come with the after show of GC's stream, and it's called If Black Women Need to Learn from Other Cultures, Why Shouldn't Black Men Learn from Other Cultures? So, I really want to hear what you guys have to say about that. And I already have two guests. Hey, guys.
Hey, Melody.
Hi, GC.
How
Good
you doing?
much. I'm good. Hi, Big J. Oh, he must not be there. Okay, so what do you think? Why, if black women need to learn from other cultures of women, why shouldn't black men?
Well, black men do learn. Basically, our entire relationship dynamic, including things like monogamy and stuff like that, from other cultures of men.
Well, can
So,
you elaborate?
well, like marriage, the wedding cake, I mean, pretty much everything. Wearing white at the wedding, the song "Here Comes the Bride," like this is all stuff that came from other cultures.
Okay, but according to a lot of these black women, black men don't want to marry them.
Well, that's a reaction to what they are, but the concept of merit or what they have become. But that's them changing the culture. That's not really black men changing the culture.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So basically, you're saying, how can black men do the things they should do if black women are not doing what they should do?
Well, basically, what I'm saying is our culture is an amalgamation of many other cultures. Now, the culture did change with feminism. Like they added feminism to the culture, and I noticed that when they were adding feminism to the culture, I gotta go after this. But when they were adding feminism to the culture, nobody said, hey, what about this woman? This woman is not from our culture. They just kind of like took the idea, embraced it, and ran with it. But now that somebody else is coming with new concepts or better concepts of getting me a sandwich, they're like, oh yeah, but how come you don't emulate their culture and blah 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 blah, which is just excuses. It's just a reason to not get me a damn sandwich.
Right. So you
Yeah,
think black men,
go for
okay,
it.
you think black men are good just the way they are. They don't need to change.
Everybody needs improvement, but the whole, okay, put it like this. It's one of those type of arguments to where, if a man says to his wife, hey, you putting on a few pounds, I'm gonna need you to hit that gym harder. Well, you don't have a six pack. I want bigger muscles. It's like, no, you're just saying that because I asked you to go to the gym. This is basically just you trying to divert from doing something that you would rather not do. You're adding an empty criteria in order to shift the focus of the conversation. So yeah, it's a tactic. Once again, shame, blame, same, and insane. It's just one of those other tactics. Sick of it. So get it out. I'm gonna listen in the cloud stuff.
Okay, thanks for coming up, GC.
I'm sorry. I just came on. I was on mute because I was in the other room here. So what was the premise of your argument, Melody? What was the premise of your argument?
Well, GC had a stream saying that black women should pretty much learn from other cultures of women. And
Mm-hmm.
then and Queen Q said she feel that black men should also learn from the men from the other cultures. If the black
Mm-hmm.
women have to learn, why shouldn't the black men have to learn? So that's what made me want to have this stream.
Well,
And
well, 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 let me say this. Let me say this right now. It's going to be very controversial. I'm gonna say this right now. First of all, men set the tone, right? We every time we in this space of YouTube, or should I call it the chitlin circuit of YouTube, we always hear Negroes talk about, well, we supposed to set the tone, and this. Okay, if you set the tone, therefore you supposed to practice what the fuck you preach. You can't sit there and expect, you know, you can't there expect a woman to be fat as hell, and you want her to be skinny when your ass is out of shape. At some point though, everybody on here talk about everybody here want to talk about that they are conservatives and we need personal responsibility. Well, you can't just sit there and look at somebody else. You can't sit there and talk about uh personal responsibility on one hand, while uh at the same time you not being personally responsible for your own motherfucking self.
Right.
So I don't know why though. If we want to sit there and want if black men, you know, I'm sorry. Let me say it like this, because I'm trying to be calm and cool, collected, because some Negroes really need to be cussed the fuck out. The thing is that if your mind is always on cardinal desires, if your mind is always on mediocre talking point, or not mediocre, yeah, mediocre or or points that is juvenile, and if you are a fucking ass, I don't know, 40 years old. If you're 40 years old, who is you trying to talk about hit the wall? Because you already hit the goddamn wall. You know what I'm saying? So you can't sit there and point fingers at somebody else when you fucked up just along with this fucking female.
But according to the manosphere, men don't hit the wall.
According to whom? Because let me say right now, some of y'all got diabetes, some of y'all got VD, some of y'all got HIV and don't want to tell nobody. But see, you already hit the wall. Some of us is ugly as fuck.
We
Some
don't
of
hit
us
the wall
are
the
fat as
same
hell.
way women do.
Hold on. I have a stuttering problem, right? I got speech impediment. I hit the wall. See, at least I can admit I hit the wall. But some of you dudes don't want to admit that you hit the wall your damn self.
Wait, Jay,
Y'all so
why
focus
would you,
on.
I don't mean to cut you
I'm
off,
gonna
Jay.
say this something too. I'm gonna say this right now. Say something right now. Yes, a game changer. I said that shit. Now what? Now on
Big J, I don't mean to cut you off. Why would you let your stuttering problem consider you hitting the wall if you're still a competent man that's still building resources and finances?
I'm making
you
an
might have a
argument.
charm too with your stuttering.
I'm making an argument. Yeah, Mel, I'm making an argument. I'm not self-deprecating myself. I'm making an argument.
I mean, I understand.
What is the wall?
But I wouldn't say that be the wall. It might be a little barrier, but I wouldn't say that's the wall. Like I said, if you're a man that's building, you know what I'm saying, confident, you could probably find a charm in your stuttering in a way that, you know, some females might find entertainment and laughter and everything. Yeah. And you could probably still, you know, seduce women in a way like that. Even if you might have a speech impediment, why would you say that that's hitting the wall? I can say it might be a barrier, but you could find ways around it. Like I said, I mean, I do agree with you. Men and women, we do hit the wall, but it's not the same exact way. And the way you think it is.
What I'm saying is this. Some people on here are on the red pill rage, and some people, you're too old on that red pill rage already. Some of y'all 40 years old and still on red pill raging. You know, you still worrying about mediocre shit. I mean, shit that shouldn't even been talked about. See, men are among the table of nations. Men talk about what's really important. Men when at the table of nations. I'm using the term at the table of nations here.
I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, I understand.
Men don't come to the table with juvenile talking points. Oh, why is she fat? Oh, why is she this? Well, if you have the power, why would you give a flying fuck about her fucking weight when you can have another bitch who's fucking skinny as fuck? You know what I'm saying? Why if you are goddamn if you are fucking ass bro rich and you got money and you're doing well in life, why are you worrying about what Big Booty Brenda doing? That's Big Booty Brenda is the last shit that should be on any successful black man's mind. But you can't be doing these 10-hour live streams talking about some punk ass bitch from high school. Have some fucking power.
I want to use that analogy right there. I agree with you on that part. But let's say you got majority of these moo cows that's interfering with a lot of physical fit women, and even some dudes that's caping for these moo cows, throwing up in a lot of guys' faces like we should accept them. The same way you got a lot of single mothers who make bad choices that we should accept them also too. Men that ain't got no kids, period. And they're using shaming tactics. Childless men should deal with women with kids. You're not high value if you don't deal with a kid. There's videos about that. And stuff. When that much in our face like that, something has to be said now. Because how majority of women that actually are that's trying to fits themselves physically, emotionally, like that, and try to get a man, and they got to worry about these big bad apples that's interfering. We do have to say something about it, so we can save some of the females that that have a chance.
Okay.
Now, I do agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. Some guys do. I do agree with you that there's some dudes that go extreme. I do agree with you on that.
Well, I do agree with you, Mel. Yeah. And I just said 4 words without stuttering, bitch ass niggas in the chat room, by the way. But anyway, I do agree with you, Mel.
To the question, real quick. To the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want you to answer it first, Big J. Do you think black men should also learn from men of other cultures if black women have to learn?
Yes.
And why is that? Because
of power.
You're saying black men don't have power like other races of men do.
I actually believe in wherever power goes, men need to follow, need to learn what power really is. See, black men, I'm gonna say this right now, white population is dropping, right? According to some of the reports. So if black men don't understand power, how do you expect black men to lead in the latter part of the 21st century when he does not understand what constitute power and how the power to control economics, governments, military, and laws and otherwise, when that man's mindset is still on hair weave, Wookie weaves and wigs and long nails, and what Big Booty Brenda have done to them in 1995.
All right.
The mindset has to change. The culture has to change.
Big J, let's get real with what we're talking about. This is Stoic 1.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
When men say that women hit the wall, it's more to do with their reproductive viableness and their youthful freshness. It's nothing to do with you're conflating things here. What you're really doing.
Well, the reason why I'm doing that, because if you look at it on the flip side of that, if a man got diabetes, his penis ain't working. I hate to be a graphic, but if you have some type of condition at a certain age, you have to take that blue pill. So if we're going to talk about hitting the wall, but guess what? That wall goes both ways. There's a wall for them, and there's a wall for us.
It's not the same by biological factors, though, Big J.
Okay, if it's not that, then why? Excuse me. Then why is time though? Every time when I turn on TV, we see people talk about the blue pill. Man, you need to take the blue pill. This is Viagra. This is Solaris.
Hold on.
We got for Viagra, Solaris commercials. all that. So you can miss me with this argument of well, we don't, women
Okay.
reproductive systems don't work. Well, guess what? If your dick ain't, no, I'm saying like this,
Yeah.
if a man's dick can't fucking work, he ain't reproducing either.
The conflation is really obvious because it's
No,
not.
it's not
Yeah,
conflating.
no,
It's
hold
the
on.
same
Wait. You already talk. Hold on. Chill out. Listen, Big J, you're conflating two different points. It is a given that women is going to hit a wall based on biological factors. That's what you tend to forget. That women are not going to be able to produce at a certain age. You're conflating that with an issue that has to deal with diets with men. I don't know the commonality of the statistics. I know that they have the whole entire erectile dysfunction problem and this, that, and the third. I'm not going to deny that doesn't happen, right? It does happen. But to sit up there and say that's a commonality for all men is complete bullshit if you're going to say that, Big J. You cannot compare. Hold on, wait. You cannot compare that because that is a condition versus biological factors. Women and men are not built the same like that. A man can still bust a nut. Hold on. A man can still bust a nut in his 60s and 70s and get a woman pregnant. That's what you're not. Women cannot get pregnant at a certain age, or it's going to be harder for women to get pregnant at a certain age, bro. So you cannot conflate the two. You're making two different arguments.
Wait a minute. But you also forgot something. First of all, VD or the erectile dysfunction is also is sometimes for certain men. It's not always a dietary function. Some of that is natural function, and plus on top of that, men die earlier than women. So the wall is there for us, man, regardless of how though you want to look at it. Men die early.
Versus reproduction.
One can still be fixable.
Hey, a dead dick is not going to fuck. Okay.
I'm going to disagree.
Again, you're saying death versus reproduction. That's what you're saying. I understand that men usually die earlier than women, but again, it's about reproduction we're talking about here. You're conflating two different things.
But tell me this then.
Hold on, Melody's speaking. Let's Melody speak.
Men is all about. I'm sorry, I can't even think right now. Women is all about youth, beauty, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll accept your argument. I'll accept your argument, but at the same time, you can't
kill your argument.
exclusively.
And men is about money and resources, so men don't hit the wall like women do. So that's not even an argument.
Listen, you can be an ugly motherfucker in your 60s. You can be ugly in your 60s and still get a woman.
How many? Okay, tell me something. How many children do you know who are born on the spectrum, or somebody who's born with certain anomalies? Do y'all know who what age when that child was born or conceived?
What are you talking about? I don't get the question.
I'm not getting
what I'm saying though, if y'all actually look at people who are children who are born with certain mental issues,
mental disability.
They come from sperm. They come from men who are over the age of 45.
No, actually, the percentage.
No. Okay.
Wait, all right, guys, can you hold that thought? Because I gotta read these super chats. I don't want to lose them. Thank you so much, Jessica, for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Actually, that's a super sticker. Let me see if I can get the other ones. Oh no, I think they disappeared. GC, I saw that. He said like the stream. Thank you so much for the super chat. And who else? I see what you guys go through looking for these super chats now. Hold on.
It's real out here when you get monetized. You know what I mean?
Right.
Peace, brown bird.
Give me a second.
Hey, peace, brother. How are you?
I'm trying to find
my
it.
UK brother. What's good?
Oh, here we go.
I'm here, man.
What's good in it?
The like button.
Media.
I saw another one. Was there another one, guys?
I don't know.
Nah, I don't know.
Oh, here it is. And Man of Tomorrow Can
Yo,
Ant
man, it's so hard, savage.
Oh
can
man,
Ant-Man
this
help
goofy clown man right here.
Big J?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Then, man, tomorrow. I'll tell you what. Then, man, tomorrow.
No,
Well,
no,
Get
I
him,
put a
get
link
him.
in the chat room. Hold on. I put a link in the chat room. So, man of yesterday, man of Spirit Torque times, man of Jurassic Park. How the fuck can you sit there and tell me we got enough time to make a good point, but then right there is a link about men sperm count after the age of 40.
Okay, let's get into that.
See, no, that came from a medical journal. A medical journal.
Okay,
What
well,
the
let's
hell are
get
you
into
talking
that.
about?
Even a young man who has who knocks up an old woman has a higher chance of a child being born with these congenital conditions. So it's not the same, really. These percentages are not the same. They're off.
Oh, really.
Now,
So what
BJ, I want to mention also
about the National Academy of Science? What
Oh,
are the National Academy of Science?
can I interject real quick? I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Yeah, I want to mention something also too.
Let Melody go in there.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was Queen.
No,
I actually
no,
want to
I
get
Queen.
everybody in. So go ahead, Queen.
I just wanted to
How you
interject
go,
real quick
Queen?
because I can see the subject has kind of like rolled from what it originally was.
Right.
But I just wanted to say what I was going to say because we're in the store and we're finishing up the last bit of renovations we have to do before we open. But what I was alluding to on GC's thing was I'm not saying that there's a problem with Black men. And I understand fully that there's a lot that Black women can learn from women of other cultures. But I also want it to be known that there are things that Black men too can learn. And I don't understand why the disconnect happened upon saying that. To sit there and say that, hey, we want women to emulate this culture, but we don't want to put in the work ourselves to understand and also to ensure that that culture is emulated because we want the better parts of that culture. And to have so much pushback from just saying, hey, yeah, there is a thing that Black men can learn from men of other cultures. The same way we want our women to replicate what those men get from their women.
Well,
But in order for that to happen, there's gonna have to be some emulation on y'all part. You're gonna have to take some of the thing is, and like I said, take the meat and the potatoes and spit out the bones.
I think that's been
No,
done
no,
already.
I'm gonna say something right now. You know what I just did? Let me tell you what I just did. I put down links. I just put a link of to prove my case. I learned that from the original manosphere. I learned that from the white manosphere.
So share it then. Share it. So
I just did. It's in the chat room.
Share
It's
it
in the chat room. He said it's in the chat room.
It's in the chat room. I put the link in the chat room. You know, so all I see in this in Black manosphere spaces is conjecture and guesses about what women do or bodies of women when y'all don't explore the science, when y'all really don't talk about science on this thing. I just emulate what I just did. I emulate from the white manosphere.
we've had entire streams about this. I mean, these things. So
I just emulate what people like. I just
misrepresenting what's going on.
And y'all have to act like y'all just trying to shit on what I just did.
No.
No,
like Big J, like you're
quick.
coming along with a premise. Like I don't understand your talking point sometimes. It's just like you come in, it's like screw the manosphere, Negro manosphere, and I sit back, I be like, you still join Negro manosphere panels. So I'm sitting here lost, like, what the hell are you talking about? Like,
Because
if you
the
have this
culture has
whole
to change.
Okay,
That's
if the culture has to change, what are you doing to change it? Not complaining on a goddamn stream every goddamn Sunday chance you get. I'm lost as hell, bro. Because I don't even spend my time talking about the helmet. Like, bro, I'm not going to spend my time all day talking about helmet material. Like, if I see a woman with a weave, I just don't talk to her. Screw Keisha. I don't want Keisha. I want Kiana. So my thing about it is,
who am I speaking to?
Speaking of Bronzebird, you understand? Flying high with spiritual knowledge.
Oh, you? Okay. I know who you are, nigga. I know who you are, nigga.
So I'm saying, but we've been over this. Mel, let me just get this last word in. Big J, we've been over this. You know this, bro. And all I'm saying is, bro, it's not even like you really trying to change the paradigm. Your whole entire thing is you manosphere dudes Obsidian and Reg the bad guy, and I'll be looking at you like, what the hell are you talking about, bro?
Because though they are
Change the paradigm.
Because the leaders
What leaders?
create the
Hold on,
culture.
let him talk.
Because I address the leaders because the leaders create the culture.
They're no leaders.
And I am the anti-establishment. And I'm the anti-establishment person who's challenging the leadership of the Black Manosphere.
There's no
No,
leadership.
so you're playing contrarian. That's what you're doing. You're playing contrarian.
Yeah.
Which is not effective.
In what though you call me being a contrarian equals you think I'm just trolling, just a fucking troll. I'm not
You look like you are though. With all respect.
How can I troll when I'm putting links a link or two in the chat?
Bro,
Just
the way that your actions are, bro, every single chance you get. Bro, it's nothing wrong. Look, listen. If you're frustrated, okay, that's cool. Big J. If you're frustrated, what are you changing so that people can take you seriously? Because it doesn't look like people take you seriously.
Y'all seriously.
You like, bro, I don't give a damn about talking about weaves and nonsense all day. It's stupid. What are you doing to change the paradigm? All you keep doing is taking the same thing.
Like the whole premise of the welfare to kick the black man out the household. I remember I got on Brother Xavier's channel when y'all say that dumb shit. And I'm like, dude, y'all got your history wrong. Hold on, y'all got your historical wrong. That was outlawed in 1968 by the Supreme Court. Y'all going to use
ignore him and talk about the subject.
Let's talk about Brownsboro has a point.
You can still people can still lose their Section 8 by having people living with them.
Talk, y'all.
It's not on the list.
Hold on. Let Melody
Just have to be able to
talk.
speak on our stream.
All right. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Deacon Dave, for the $3 super sticker. I really appreciate that. And I want to get somebody else in there because nobody really answered the question that I asked.
What was the question? I'm sorry. Dr. Lee.
What's the question?
I mean, the question is literally the title of the show.
I have an answer.
Listen, if
I have
black
my own
women-
just came up here to just be on the
Yeah,
panel.
Melanie,
Hold on, be
I'm gonna say
quiet.
it again. If black women need to learn from other cultures, why shouldn't black men learn from other men of other cultures?
Now I have an answer to that.
Really
My own opinion.
giving you the great answer to the question already.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Chowhound. Go ahead, Chowhound.
Go around.
Okay, my thing is this. We shouldn't be looking at other people's cultures because we need to go dig in to what our culture was originally. Because you had a lot of black folks that were originally Indians that are here, and others that say they were others that said that they come from Africa and so on. But if you find out what your tribal ancestry was, whichever it is, then you can find out how your culture was set up. Because right now, the way it looks, you're saying that we don't have a culture, so we got to look at everybody else's culture, which takes away from us. When in essence, in some areas, our own culture, we can research this. It just takes some time to dig this out. But you're gonna you got black folks going in all different directions. So how can we even get together to even dig up a culture? Because you're gonna have
Can I ask you a question? Hold on, can I ask you a question or two?
You just asked the question first. And I think
Okay.
Q said she was going to answer it.
I just wanted to answer the super chat that Leo has up because he says, keeping on topic, Queen Q, what do you think black men can learn from non-black men? Black men are the most imitated on the planet by other races from what I see. And to that, I say, Leo, they are the most represented when it comes to fashion, when it comes to clothing and looks department. But in terms of our personality and things like that, or the way that we conduct our household, we are not the most emulated. So there's plenty that black men can learn from men of other races. We can, especially when it comes to the relationship part. And that's the thing that we were talking about. So on
But that's
GC's
because
thing,
of black women.
can I finish, please?
That's because of black women.
On
for the most
GC's
part.
thing, he asked, can black women learn submission from other women? And I'm like, yes, absolutely, we can. We can learn how to be more submissive if you're open and willing to the idea. But then it got to the idea of culture. And I was like, in that aspect, there's things that Black men can learn from other men of different cultures when it comes to running their household. I'm like, there are things that other cultures do that are perfect that we could emulate here in the States, that we could do in our own households to help rear children and make sure that we're coming out with the best boys and the best girls. There are things that we can pick up from other societies on how they train their daughters to be wives and how they also train their sons to be husbands.
Okay.
That was the
Can I
whole
answer that?
premise of the
Can I go after
conversation.
Queen Q?
Man.
All
I'm
right. Can I
sorry.
go? Can I go?
Yes.
Like,
All right. Because I was on Bill Big Nate. We was talking about the same subject earlier.
Clap his
And
hand.
we noticed every culture in America, Nation of Islam, Jewish, Middle Eastern, all the other the Mormon and everything. Yeah, they women will be kept in line. Like despite all the laws and everything that's initiated in this country to give women all these freedom and everything, people, those organizations not going to leave their culture to buy about the freedom of America and everything. Why? Because I said this yesterday, and Melanie agreed with me. Men, we create the structure of the culture. We create the whole status of the culture. Women nurture it to pass it down to the children. What happened in our community, we've been creating culture in our community since most of us were brought as slaves. Men have been creating it, and somehow, some way, during the 1960s, women decide to deviate from the plan and go their own route in our community. We create the structure of our culture. Women decided, I don't want to follow your way no more. I'm going to create a different culture and pass it down to my kids. And it's been passed down for multiple
I'm
towns.
sorry, but is anybody following what he's
Over
saying?
and
I'm really
over.
having a hard time.
I get it. I get it.
I understand.
I understand.
I
Shut
understand.
down, man.
I understand.
It's
Okay.
passed down over and over so many times, and we see what we happening now. We try and recreate another culture and everything, and what's going to happen? Our women is going to do something different. As long as the men's not in the household, because the laws is chasing most of us out of the household, we can't have a culture that's even study from.
Okay, so
I can't.
I don't want to lose.
But hold on, let me finish. I'm gonna finish.
Hold on, real quick, because I don't want to lose my super chat.
All right.
So I want to say thank you for that, Leo. I really appreciate it. And Auntie Wanda, she says Black women should follow their culture's examples. No provision, no protection, no pussy. Congratulations.
They won't do it.
Mel,
They won't do it.
Thank you, Auntie.
Wait a minute. As somebody who grew up in the white community, y'all really put. See, y'all judging y'all's problems with somebody else's highlight reel.
What are you talking about, man?
No.
No idea.
Y'all sit there and compare yourselves to white people.
No, we don't.
What?
No,
That's
it's
a
true.
lie.
It's true.
I don't
Yes, y'all.
understand what you're talking about. It makes no
The
sense.
premise of the argument is, and what old boy said, well, that ain't true because black women gonna give up the pussy anyway. Dude, if you've been around white women like I have, white women give the same amount of pussy as black women do. So I don't know why though the
Baseless
guy.
arguments. Here we go.
I don't know why though you sit there saying in the first place.
Women of the society are finished anyway, so we're talking about the westernized world, bro. You're bringing in black women because you still care.
The premise
So can I answer the question,
brother,
Melody, after he's done?
Hold on,
I'll answer the question.
Groundberg.
Can he finish? Is he allowed?
Is there an order?
Yeah,
Wisdom.
there you go.
I
The
wanted to
premise
add
of the
another thing
brother-
I was saying real quick though. One thing I do notice, the men in the other cultures, they put an enforcement onto how they women act. They act a certain way, they excommunicate their asses out, and they enforce that shit.
They don't do that no more, man.
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yes, they do.
Really?
So,
Really?
yes, they do.
Alright.
So this is the thing. This is the thing.
Man, I focus on black men. Black men don't do that shit.
It's from inner city. Hold on.
That's why we got a lot of simps the way we doing shit.
That's
Mel.
What?
I want to do a poll here for people on the panel. How many of y'all are from the inner city?
Yeah, I live in the hood.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not.
I'm in the city.
Okay.
I'm from the.
I'm not.
Me too.
See, I'm probably the only person who's from a rural area. I'm telling you right now, man, with y'all little premise is kind of off. I mean, y'all little premise is off. I'm sorry. I hate to tell y'all that.
How, Big J?
Exactly.
White bitches do. Let me tell you something. Oh my God,
Y'all
so frustrated.
Another nation.
Y'all are judging your problem with black people's problems with white folks highlight reel.
They're not saying white folks
I didn't say nothing
They're
about white
saying
people, all that shit, man.
other
We're really
nations,
not, Big J.
not
You're getting
white
frustrated
people.
for no reason.
What does
And the thing about it is,
other
we
countries
recognize women of all nations once they enter into the westernized world is all screwed. That's the reason why you have all these problems. So I don't
Not
understand.
necessarily speaking.
In general.
Not
general.
necessarily.
Not all of
What do
them
you
and
mean,
everything.
not
That's what I was
necessarily
saying.
speaking?
Not necessarily.
You go to the
Not
Jewish community.
Wait.
This is
You know
going
that
nowhere.
Untitled
Westernized way they do.
culture?
General,
Yes, they
not-
are.
You go to the Jewish community, they don't act the way these
Bro.
Westernized women are.
Hold on.
Yes, they do.
No, what type of Jews you talking about?
Yo, y'all are being helmets and swamis right now.
All right,
Chill
all right,
out.
come on.
Goddamn, let me get it
What
out.
you talking about?
Like,
Let's
can you just
give
ask me a
Bronze
question, yo? Like, goddamn.
Can I go after Bronze?
Yo.
Y'all need
Big
to
J,
travel, man.
All right,
I'm saying
everybody,
y'all really
please.
need
You haven't
y'all need
traveled.
to travel.
everybody stop.
Y'all
because
really
Bronsford
getting,
is
y'all
next.
some
Go
helmets
ahead,
right now, yo.
Bronsford.
Look, listen. My thing about it is to go off of this helmet premise you're bringing up. Nobody's sitting up there saying, "Oh, it's just black women." I believe it's women of all nations that's in the westernized hemisphere.
Then how
You interrupted me while I'm speaking. Hold on.
Yeah, let him get it
Let
off.
me get it out.
Let him get it out, please.
Let me get it out. Goddamn. Stop being a helmet. So, like I said, I believe it's the nations that's in the westernized culture. Once they pick up anything that has to deal with anything liberal, in my opinion, they're screwed. This is why we have a lot of problems with even the dating aspect today, because there's a lot of problems on the men's and the women's side. You understand?
Okay,
So let me
okay,
get to hold on.
Brown
Wait. Interrupting again. Let me finish. Stop.
You
Let's
should
calm
go on
down,
mute, Big J.
okay? Let's just chill down. So now answering the question, should black men learn cultures from other men? Now, I don't know if I'm gonna give a helmet answer to this, and you can call me out, Gabe, especially you're on top of your shit. So
I'm feeling it. I'm just
sure,
listening.
I bet. So my thing about it is, in my opinion, I think that black men in particular technically do learn from other nations of men just based off of competition when it comes to corporate America. And my belief system. I might be wrong, but I'm just saying, like, there's just certain things that if they understand that it might be men, let's just say it's like Indian, Pakistani, or those immigrants that come in and they start working harder. Black men want to learn, like, yo, well, if they getting over and they making more than me, yo, how am I going to be able to, get where I need to get to own my own business and all this other stuff, right? So on that aspect, yeah, to me, in my opinion, in corporate America, it seems like they learn a little bit. But I mean, you live in America, so you learn from all different cultures anyway. But in terms of going to like women, if women should learn the way that they should be as a woman, black men should learn how to be black men from other men. It's on the fence. I'm just saying, it's on the fence because I just think that black men inherently know what's wrong with them and what's got messed up in the past. So it's really primarily up to them to fix it. You understand? And that's why I always say you got to separate the good from the bad and weed out those who's not effective and those who are effective, in my opinion.
Right. And Big J said something earlier. He said something about power. He said black men don't have power like other men. What's your thoughts on that, Bronsberg?
Yeah, I mean, I understand where Big J is coming from. I'm not going to knock that at all. Everything. It seems like the black man is in disarray. But I do, my thing is, I can see a lighter being flamed a little bit. You know what I mean? I can see a little bit of fire that's in the black men that's just like, look, listen, that's what happened then. We're focusing on this now. You know what I mean? Regardless if we're doing it through groups or we're doing it through, and I mean, even real life support systems coming around when it comes to building infrastructure or economical powers. A little bit. I'm not going to sit up there and say we're all the way there. We're not. But I see a little bit of change happening. Just a little bit.
Right, but obviously you're doing something right. Their women want you, right? So
I mean, look, listen. The black phallus always wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, listen. Okay, we got that down pat. But the whole entire power. Look, my viewpoint on the power thing is like if we're saying the so-called white man has power, it's all about how empires are. The empire will be destroyed. After it being destroyed, who's the one that's going to take it ultimately needs to be the question. I think black men will. I'm just saying.
Right, well, thank you, Bronsberg.
Yeah,
okay, so I'm gonna have Gabe A next. Gabe?
Hey,
Hey.
hey, yeah. So I guess I'll just add on to what Bronsberg was saying as it concerns corporate America, and I would agree. I guess more and more, the higher I've went in corporate America, the less and less I've seen of us, and I do think that it comes from a bit of a perspective that a lot of times black men, and especially here in the black manosphere, a lot of dudes have said, "You work in corporate America, so you are a slave of the white man, or a slave of the system, or a corporate slave," right? Where a lot of times men from other cultures don't have that same perspective. Really, they have the perspective of, I work in corporate America now in order to get something out of it so that I can do my own thing. And I think that that's something that we can take more of in perspective about corporate America, right? Because you can get things from it, right? It's more of a perspective of, I'm taking something from this, right? I'm providing a particular output of work so that I can get something from it, rather than I'm enslaved by the corporate entity, right? So I do think that that's something that we can take from men of other cultures.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. When it comes to economics, definitely.
Exactly. So let me have Stoic next. Stoic.
Okay, I'm short now. I'm gonna be short. Thank you, Melody. I appreciate you allowing me to be on your panel.
Yeah.
To answer the question of the stream, and I'll just sort of add on to what Game Changer has said and what Bronzebird has said. Black men, Western black men, are more married than Western black women. So in that way, they have internalized a positive forward march toward toward the possibility of things being better. So with that greater reality, I think we do generally take things from other cultures and put them into ourselves and act on them in general. Can we learn more? Yes, but we have internalized those positive things from other people.
Right. So let me ask you this. What can black women learn from other women? Of course, the obvious submission, but what else can black women learn from other cultures?
Well, are you asking me that question?
Yes, that's for you.
Okay, I think that in general, the Western black woman can learn. Really, femininity is really what's sorely lacking on the Western landscape. I mean, it just doesn't exist really to any degree that's any formidable degree. They just lack it to the point where the society has just gone into the sea. It's not. It won't work. Won't change. And it's not going to work in the future. I don't think it's not going to get better.
Right. That's true.
I got a deep question for that, Melanie.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. See, one thing with the women and stuff, how can that happen? Well, this was inspired by 411 when I was on Nate's channel earlier. What a woman like you, yourself, feminist, submissive, want to see change, build relationships with each other. How far are y'all really willing to go? As in, are y'all willing to give up the laws that's in your favors, to vote for laws that's in favor of men, so we have an equal playing field? I mean, we starting to see this a lot now, that we starting to see some females that act like chameleons in this space. You see what happened with Courtney and everything. She tried like this fake feminine chick until a mirror came on and exposed that she was not who she was. We all know the situation with Rebecca Lynn Pope and Nicole Michelle. And now we know they have a lot of videos now with these females claiming they was former feminists. You know, are they actually genuine that they gave up the feminist ways of be feminine? But see, how far you're really willing to go the way we are. I mean, I tell men, like, you know what, we need to get laws in our favor. We need to bring our money and resources together. But are your women willing to do the same thing? That's the biggest main challenge.
Okay, but can I say something before I leave?
Yeah, you can address that. Go ahead.
Yeah, you should just leave. All right.
No, make me leave. I'm gonna say this. Now, I was talking to I was on Maurice Duck's channel, and I was talking to Rinky Manning. We was having this conversation, right, about power. You know, and he said, is why though I don't hire that many black men, and I'm black, and I was, and he was talking about He said, go in the back of my company and look at the black men and listen to what black men talk about. Sports, pussy, sports, pussy. Listen. Anybody who wants power is not going to be talking about sports or pussy all the fucking day long for 24/7.
And who does that?
So therefore, how can you male want laws to change when black men's conversations are very elementary?
Are you
Explain that?
Are you basing this off of YouTube conversations?
No. Aren't y'all doing the same thing? Aren't y'all basing this off of YouTube conversations?
That does sound like a yes, though.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I got my answer.
I'm basing of 20 years of listening to black men talking. Every
you know what? I'm gonna challenge you on this, Big J. I'm gonna challenge you on this. You listen to this for 20 years. What are you doing your part to change it?
No.
Are you sitting back complaining all the time? Are you actually doing things to change about it?
You the one who came on here.
There you go. You're
changing
laws. You're still complaining right now and arguing.
You're the one complaining. You're the one complaining, man.
I ain't complaining. I'm asking about power.
You're complaining. This is about I want power. Y'all don't desire power because y'all think power comes from between the legs of a fucking female.
See, there you go. You're proving my point.
No, you're the one who said
You're proving my point, dude. You're the one who said my point.
You the one who said it, Mel.
Hold up, yo, Big J. Say what you gotta say, and then Mel respond, yo.
That's what Ricky, Maddie, and I was talking about is absolutely correct. Because everywhere I go,
who?
Ricky Manning. Manner. But anyway, when me and him were talking about this on More Rick Duck's channel, I was scratching my head. Yeah, you're right. Because every time, and I'm in a company of white men or Asian men or Hispanic men, they're not talking about that bullshit. But every time I come on YouTube, it's the black woman won't let me leave. The black woman is fat. The black big booty
I think you're relegating your opinion to YouTube.
But just like Bronsberg said, what are you doing to change that?
What is you to do to change
I ain't my shit.
No, let me ask Big J a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask Big J a question. So why can't they say that? It's true. They're not lying about it. Black women are overweight and obese. Black women are single mothers.
But
why can't black men talk about it?
There's no but there, Big J.
It's YouTube.
Because the Negroes in this chitlin circuit of YouTube are repeating what white conservative talking points rather than no, that's what they're doing. It's kind of like the dude named Earl Butz. Earl Butz was Secretary of Agriculture under Nixon. And he used to say this about black people. Only thing a black man cares about is tight pussy, loose shoes, and a warm place to shit. So why are we proving a white racist man right?
That's generalizations, but I
Big J, like I said, you know this is going on.
Can I interject, please?
They just want black women to change. That's all. They created this space to come together and talk about the problems. Like, why do you have an issue with that?
With no change, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
Getting in the way of helping black men out. It's getting in the way of helping black boys out. That's the problem. You're focusing on the wrong shit.
So what should we focus on, Big J?
And I'm telling y'all that.
So what should we focus on, Big J?
You know I don't understand. You know what's going on? You keep listening to his brothers out there.
20 years later. 20 years later.
Big J, let me finish. Let me
talk.
Let me talk.
I muted him, so you go, and then I want to hear from Queen Q.
But I got to go though. I have to say what I say, but I have to go after this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Big and Small wrote a song said money, hoes, and clothes. That's all what a nigga knows. Wait a minute. If y'all proving these white conservatives right, by not focusing on power, y'all focus on
lyrics represent all
much.
black men.
That's the point. And I'm out.
Nuts.
Oh, Biggie's rap
He
the white
talked about whole
conservative,
rap
man. He made
videos
no
like
damn
it's the
sense.
90s. What the fuck?
Okay. What were you saying, Mel? What were you saying?
Now, like I was going to tell him, Evan, just like Bronsberg says, what are you doing about it right now? We know all these problems at it. So what are you doing about it? All of us to find solutions, we have to talk about the problems so we can come to solutions. Now, understand, there's some extremists out there also, too. Yes, I get it. But you know what? You want to still follow the extremists and still nag about the problem so much the way he was. And he ain't coming up with no solutions either. He's actually just must contribute to the problem. Keep talking about what if, all that blah, 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 blah. No. What are you doing now also now? Fuck the past and all that shit. Now we know what's going on. What are you doing now about it? What are the solutions? I'm about the end game.
Okay,
All
so
right, thank you. So, Queen, let me hear Queen, and then I'm gonna read my super chats before they disappear. Go ahead, Queen.
okay, Mel, I'm so glad that you brought that up because that was something that I was trying to bring up on GC's panel when we were talking about what black men could learn about. Well, when we talked about what could black women learn from women of other cultures, and when I brought that up, one of the things that we can do, the solution is this: you only need to find one woman. Rather you step outside of ADOS black woman to do that, or you find an ADOS woman that's going to be on your game, that's going to be submissive, and that's going to do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first step. The second step is to make sure that you dedicate to that culture that you want to solidify yourself in, which means if you say, hey, for example, me and my husband, I want my daughter married, which means I'm going to, when I have a daughter, raise her to be a wife. When I have my son, he is going to be raised to be a husband. Rather he steps outside of ADOS women, or he finds a reputable black woman here in the States to marry. That is something that I'm going to instill him, and I'm going to instill that culture inside of him to let them know your culture overrides this weird perception of freedom that you think that you're getting.
Right.
It's really not freedom that you're getting. You're fucking yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why when we say what's the solution is for men. Ultimately, I get it. Some of y'all are pump and dump for life. Some of y'all are in long-term relationships with no marriage. You want to fix that? Some of y'all are like, hey, I don't want to get married here because of divorce laws. Okay, take your ass to the other fucking country then. Marry there and assimilate into their culture. But in order for you to do that, you have to want to learn, and you will need to be a part of that culture. That's all that's being said, is that you can't take from them and say, I want my women to emulate this culture, but I am not. So therefore, when I bring my wife back here who is of this culture, I am subsequently setting my children up for failure. You have to, at some point, you have to stop saying me, and you have to think about the future generations down the line. And that's when we brought that up, and GC was like, that doesn't matter right now. We can talk about that later. No, you have to knock that out when you pick your wife or you pick the woman you're going to settle with. Other than that, you're still recreating the same problem that is plaguing y'all today. Which is what? Non-submissive women, because it's not indoctrinated in their culture. So for you to go get a woman of that culture, take her out of that culture, raise your kids out of that culture, just for them to turn into the same thing that you complain about.
Right, but let me read these super chats because they're going away. The RXO says the Japanese. I need my glasses. The Japanese culture still celebrates and recognizes their history and tradition to this day. We don't have that anymore. We've lost the traditions that kept us together at one time, such as Sunday dinners, for example. That is true.
Like I said, yeah, because the women in our culture changed that. And what's happened, the black men didn't enforce no technically punishments behind that. Other cultures do that. I guarantee the Japanese culture, they women cross a certain line, they're gonna enforce some punishments on them behind that. Some may be extreme, but some may not. But either way, they make them feel a certain way that, you know what, you want to deviate from our culture like this, you out the door. Don't come back. We didn't give you no money, no resources, nothing. We leave you out to survive on your own.
Exactly. So anybody else want to speak on what Leo said before I go on to the next super chat? What Leo Anthony said?
I have another answer to the question, so you can come back around to me when you're ready to get to that one.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna
so
just
nobody
finish a
else have
thought.
nothing else to say? Okay, so
No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
wait,
going
wait,
talking
wait,
about the
wait.
part
Hold
about
on. I was
power.
gonna say this though,
I meant to
because
say yes. Go ahead.
Queen Q did make a great point actually. To
Exactly.
add on that, my thing about it is that yes, it's the remedial conversations. That's why I get very annoyed because it just doesn't go anywhere. Especially, I'm sorry to say, but Big J still wants to focus on the women that's talking down on black men. You don't care about them. Number one, right? Black men, the men in general, have to make the move first. That's what it's always been in society. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So my thing about it is, if we know all these problems that's basically going on, right? They'll try to basically label you as them. You know you're not like that, so that's why I always say separate. What is my motto all the time? I talk about tribes, right? And the reason I talk about tribes is because you find a collective that thinks like you. Once you have your mind and goal in set, then you can build with those who's around you that have the same type of interpretation or understanding. Then y'all go ahead because it still should be focused on economics, right? Learning to have a community full of your own police force, your own restaurants, your own businesses and stuff like that to help each other out for the not talking about the so-called black community per se. I'm just saying the community, right? A community, a village.
Right.
So at the end of the day, that's the only thing that should happen. We know all the negative parts. That's trash. You don't wiggle around in trash unless you just dirty and you a hobo. But you're not. If you're a successful man or a successful thinking man, then you would know the next parts and moves to take and to guide yourself with those that's on your energy and level. Then the women that come around your caliber, if you find one like Queen Q said earlier, that's who you should be concerned with. If she ain't it and she's trash, boot that chick, boot that trick. You understand? That's it,
Boom.
and that's all.
Right. So let me read.
Brownsburg, drop that mic, baby. Drop that mic, man.
Drop that mic
Right.
and fly
So
away.
Theo Anthony said one thing non-black women have over a black woman is they don't usually choose to have babies over who they vagina likes the most. They actually pick the father carefully. Exactly.
And that's true. That's true.
I have
Exactly.
something else. Whenever
I
you're
wanted
ready.
to. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to speak on the power issue because this is economics.
Before you speak on that, let me just read. I don't want to lose these. And then Zodiac Fun. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Now, on the power part, we can't have power if we don't economically put ourselves together. I'm going to give you an example of when we had power coming out of the Civil War into the early 1900s. I'm going to try to make this as short as I can. Rosewood,
Sheesh.
Virginia, Carolinas, Tulsa. Those are examples of when we got together and empowered ourselves financially, economically. We didn't have to go to nobody else. We had our own culture then, and we had our own power. But because of the Caucasian man being excluded, he had to go in and bomb and destroy it. And this is all across the United States. They collectively did this in unison, and they used military aircraft to bomb also. So anytime we tried to get something together, even after the Civil War, when we came together, started getting economic power, we were the Republican Party. We became powerful. We had our own banks. What happened was Caucasians was excluded because since they didn't want us involved in some aspects, we had to build ourselves. So they had to come in and destroy that.
I mean, what
We
about
cannot
now?
have.
All right,
We cannot.
you're doing the history, but what about now?
Yeah, I'm doing the history, but see, I'm involved with ownership, and I've noticed certain things that taking place in the community. If you have money and power, if you try to stress for power, they're gonna. How can I put it? There's a word that I can't think of right now. Neuter you. They're gonna neuter you.
So how are you being neutered as an owner right now?
Okay.
Yeah.
For instance, we started making a certain amount of money when we got to multi. The monies was in a particular bank.
He asked
They
you, what
started.
are you doing?
I'm telling
He's
you, I'm
answering.
explaining you a situation.
No, I think he's asking about you personally, child, not the whole.
He's explaining how
He's answering.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So we started making this money. The old man started making this money, but he basically set up for my sisters and I to take over the business. But in the meantime, when he was at the rise, we owned 73 apartment buildings. That was a lot of power. We were the #1 client for Section 8, for instance. So we were on the city's radar. And what ended up happening, because he was running it in his name totally, they started investigating eavesdropping because they wanted to know where does this Negro making this money from. So one of the things they did was they came at him and told the bank he has to take his money out this bank. And so the bank said, "We think you're money laundering." No, they accused him of money laundering. So we had to move to another bank. So anyway, it was one of those protected banks that's in the elite class. Where they live is in Beverly Hills around some of the power brokers. The point is, I was involved in one of the most powerful political arms that was in the Southern California state of California under Merv Dimely. When he died, that went away. So I found that if blacks started to work to get together, they had to break that up. The system breaks that up. This is why you have a lot of people that start making money. They move out of the black neighborhood. They're pushing them out of the black neighborhood. They want to go to Beverly Hills.
Accused your father of money laundering. He moved to a different bank, and business continued as normal.
Business continued, but there was some changes.
So how was he being neutered? How are you all being neutered?
Because if the city comes in, this is another area. The city comes in and starts putting buildings in abatement. That means the rents go to the city, not the owner. And they're doing that and taking buildings right now in this city.
They're taking any of your buildings.
No, we had the money to everything they asked for us to do. We had the money to fix everything.
Sounds like
no matter how ridiculous,
all right to me.
No matter how
Don't
ridiculous
sound like
it was.
happening there.
Yeah, I don't see any downside to that.
I get what Gabe A is saying. Is that despite you feel what happened to other people,
we still had to sell. We still had to sell buildings though. We still had to sell.
But you're still operating in business now, despite the situation that happened.
Exactly.
You're still technically surviving.
Maybe
out of all the others.
Maybe I'm not explaining this right. Maybe I'm not explaining this totally right. For instance, I'll give an example. If you take a lot of the black celebrities, a lot of the people that's making a lot of money, the money doesn't come back. A majority of them, the money doesn't come back in the black community. They take the money, go somewhere else. These Jewish attorneys and accountants, they give instruction. And one of the instructions, like with the old man, for instance, when you pass away, you need to give your money to this and that. They didn't want to give us shit. And this is how you look at what happened with Michael Jackson in his situation. You look at a few other people that passed away and where their money went. Even Prince, how that situation went down. They do not want the same thing that happened with Tulsa and the building up. They don't want that happening again.
Who's they?
Now,
who's they?
The powers that be.
Who's the powers that be, child? But I don't mean to get on you, Bob, but it's like
it's like you're talking about the powers that be.
It's like an invisible ghost.
You're doing well, but you're doing well in your business.
Like you talking about Prince and that, but Prince didn't write a will for whoever could keep his masters and everything when he passed away.
The next of kin supposed to get that. The next of kin.
No, but if there's no will that says to get that, they're not going to get it. Period.
They have to go.
You have to put it in a will. That's the whole point of a will. If you die, if you don't have a will, it's going to go to the state. Now, if you put a will that my sister or brother or your children gets my belongings when I pass, it's going to go straight to them. That's the point of a will. I don't know what happened with Michael Jackson. I thought he had a will for his kids to get his stuff.
He did. He did. But he had a second. He had a second will, but something happened to that, and they had to go back and revert to the first one.
But the kids. You have to realize is you can't equate the problems of rich people to those people like us. The reality is this: Prince was a millionaire. If Prince wanted his affairs in order, they would have been in order. And you have to understand that when it came to Prince, there were other hands in that pot, which meant the companies, that produced his music, the studios, the record labels, they've already had their contracts and stuff built. Yes. But if Prince, that's the thing, we can't equate the situations of rich people to everyday Americans, because the reality is this: majority of us will never hit that level of wealth to even worry about that.
And I have to
And see,
say this also too. This is one of
that's
the problems for us in general. We see rich people, as we see him as this evil entity, and that's one of the biggest failure mindsets of why we can't really get the success the way we want to. We think of rich people as the most evil Scrooge McDuck type of way, and it's like, nah, it's not really the way you think it is.
It's being directed. Listen,
It ain't being
I'm
directed period
explaining.
at all.
Yes,
I have to
yes,
disagree
because
with you with that.
look, what is
Wow.
how many is the people really stay in the neighborhood? Oprah, any one of them? They stay in the neighborhood? No,
No, but
they
they're going
don't.
out to, hold on. But listen, here's the
Why
thing.
would they stay there?
They why
Even
would
my
we
own,
stay in that
even certain
neighborhood?
ones in my own family, even certain ones in my own family, Bel Air, Homely Hills, Beverly Hills. But they
But
asked me if
listen,
I wanted to be there. I
listen.
said no. I want to stay basically in the area. So I got my house in the area still.
Okay, but
I
listen
didn't
to
go out
this.
that way.
Has
I
it
didn't
ever
go out that
occurred to
way.
you? Has it ever occurred to you that people who are thinking like that are actually in some ways setting themselves up and setting themselves back? What's wrong with saying, hey, I as a black person leveled up out of the hood. Let me go to an area or a community where, yes, I may search for other black people that have leveled up in that situation myself, that are like-minded, and I may move into that uppity area of niggas that are uppity and niggity like me.
Exactly.
What's
I'm
wrong
in
with
what
that?
you
Why
could.
do I
I'm
have
in.
to go?
Wait a
Why do
minute.
I
I'm
have
in
to
the
go
black.
back?
But see,
Hold
no.
on,
I'm in that.
wait,
I'm
wait,
in that.
wait.
I'm in that black neighborhood right now. That's considered the Black Beverly Hills area, along with the Baldwin Hills, the View Park. I'm in that area. They didn't want to stay over here. They're where the whites are.
You're a success then. I don't get the.
I still don't get
That's
But
what I'm
it.
see,
trying
but
to
Yeah.
understand too.
the thing is, I'm saying is, and it's hard to explain this because I'm seeing it from the fact that I was involved with the political machines here. I was involved with some of the economic machines here. I was involved with a lot in the media. I was in the media, and it's what I've seen. But it's hard for me to try to
And as a black
explain it
man, you've
because
been able to
the
propel
the
beyond
best
that.
way the best way I can explain this was bringing up Tulsa, Virginia, the Carolinas, Rosewood, for an example, because it seems like every time somebody tries to build something up here, it gets torn down. I remember when Marla Gibbs started the Vision Theater. I sat down and talked to Marla, and she said the problem is the people are not supporting, and the city owns going to go so far, but she ended up having to let the theater go.
It was
Okay, there you
everything
go, right
except
And
there.
for
the
what
problem
you
is,
built
and the
up.
The
problem
people's
is
not
So wait,
that
supporting.
everything
that
Hold on.
except for
that
what you and your father built up that got that got torn down, right?
we didn't. It's not. We had to downsize. That's what we did. We had to
Everyone downside.
downsize.
So
We ain't
pretty
got.
much
We
you're saying that black men can't go anywhere because they're holding you back. You can't have any power.
you're gonna. There's an economic ceiling that only they're gonna allow you to get so far to make so much money. You can make a lot of money, but when you get to a certain point, they get into your business very heavily.
So, Chowhound, can I ask a
Because
question?
what they did was they were eavesdropping. They put him on a watch list, a government. Well, I started doing the background checking on all this. They eavesdropped, put him in a watch list. He wasn't doing anything wrong. So then,
Can I ask you a question?
when one of the people that was in the neighborhood he lives in, oh, Mr. So and so, we know how you make your money. They shouldn't be in our business like that.
Hold on.
But they
But
wanted to
so
know.
what? Why you worry about that?
Hold
I can
on.
ask
Hold
you a
on.
question.
Because
Chowhound.
it's our business. It's nobody else's
Shaham.
business if we being honest.
But
That's why.
if you doing stuff legally and being
That's why
honest,
they
you shouldn't
couldn't.
even have to
But
worry
see,
about it. If
yeah,
someone
but
if
why
someone to
did
go on
they
my
put him?
record,
But see, they
hold
still
on,
put
hold
him on a
on,
watch
hold
list.
on. Oh no,
They
if
still
someone
put
was
him
to
on a
go on
watch
my
list.
records and say, yo,
I
you're
got
making this
issues
money,
with
you know
that.
what I'm gonna say? You know what I'm gonna say? Yeah, I am. So what? You want to check my records? My taxes paid on time. I ain't doing no illegal activity. I ain't got nothing to hide.
Okay, well,
And then they leave
We
you alone.
basically took that stance, but why would they have to put him on a watch list?
hold on, guys. Let me hear from Javon Thompson. I didn't hear anything from him yet. Hi, Javon. There.
Is he
He
there?
just in the cut.
Is he there?
Yeah. I'm here.
Hi, Javon. What's your
Hey, what's
take
up?
on this whole topic?
Uh, the original topic.
Yeah.
Well, I think black men as a whole, like the only thing we could really learn from another culture would be just how to actually have a brotherhood and put our differences aside. Like if we could disagree on something, it don't matter. Like if you don't like that person, it really don't matter. Like if y'all can do business together, like figure how to get the business done, and then just go our separate ways. But I feel like that's one of the reasons we can't get ahead as black men or as a community because we don't know how to build with each other. We want to argue and fight. Oh, I don't like this. Or I don't like what you said about this, and too prideful instead of like getting down to the real issues and really trying to fix things instead of being petty and just argumentative. But again, we weren't really raised with fathers in the house to really teach us how to be men.
Good point.
So
I agree to
it's
that.
we kind of we learn from women, how to deal with problems, and that's one of the major issues why we can't get ahead because we don't think like men until later on in life. If we had really instructions, a blueprint to start off with, it could help us along the way. So I think that's probably the most major thing we can learn from another culture, just how to be more of a brotherhood. I think that's the most important thing we need to learn.
But that's it though. You said it. That was what I was looking for. Black men wasn't in a household with with two parents. So how could they be like other races of men when other races of men have family structure? I mean,
And also,
that's
can I
it
add
right
there?
there.
Can I add there? Most non-black men are not captains of industry. They're not widely successful. We have to
Right.
we have to lose this notion that non-black people are generally success stories. That's not true. And I think that's really that delusion is promoted by the sisterhood of failure on most at most times.
Right.
I think also too. I mean, yeah, I wanted to add another BP pattern. I'm sorry, Chow. I don't mean to want to get on you about this, but one thing about we create a lot of invisible enemies, especially based upon our past experience and history. Even some of us that haven't been through what we are, we compare ourselves to what our ancestors been through so much. We're 2021 now. We got black male billionaires. Some of them work for Congress. Some of them got by business owners and stuff like that, community wise. And we still creating all these invisible enemies and stuff like that. These conspiracies so much. What we're doing now, we focus on the now. We're successful now. Despite what you went
But
do in the
I
past,
got you.
it's
I
still
got you,
successful
Mel.
now.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. But the thing is, we need to come together and build an economic power base. And we're not doing that because we spread out going all over everywhere else. It's like we're being pushed out to do this because basically the idea is I don't want to be caught up in the black community. Now I understand when some people make money, they don't want to be around because they don't want to get robbed, a lot of other stuff that they don't want to go through. So I understand that part. But the thing is, we are as individuals are doing okay, but we're not doing okay as far as a group as a whole, because that's why I brought up Tulsa and the other one, because they work together as a group in a whole and they build together as a group as a whole. We're not doing that. Everybody's going in separate directions.
Okay, Chowhound, do you want to know what the biggest push was that what the biggest push was though?
I'm listening.
The biggest push was segregation. That's the reality. And I think that shows like this shows like I will say this. I've said this plenty of times. I have no problem saying it. I feel like integration was the death of black people. I really do. As a whole, I feel like integration
Yeah.
was the death of black people.
You,
Instead of
you,
fighting to be integrated and seen as equal, I feel like black people should have fought just to be left the fuck alone. Because the problem was never we wanted to be equal. The reality is we wanted to just be able to build our shit without white people saying, them niggers over there are building. Let me go burn down their stuff.
See,
Essentially.
the thing, I understand.
Malcolm
I
X had a
understand what
point
you're
behind
saying.
that.
I'm understanding
So,
what you're saying
and
because up to
Chowhound, I just wanted to say this real quick. There are cities that are black that are doing what you say. The thing is, they're doing the smart thing and keeping it low, on the low. There's cities all in Texas that are black cities that are thriving. You just had a place in, I want to say the state of Georgia that I want to say 18 black families came together, pulled together the money and bought a vacated old city that they're all renovating, that they're all building up. The thing is, they're not going to let that get out, because guess what? When you let good things out, the bad sometimes flock in. They're keeping that within there. And I want to say this. There's nothing wrong with, and I think this is one of those things, like how I agree. One of the things that black people can learn as a whole is how to work with your fellow man. Even if it's something where you're just getting people who are in your network. Like even us, we're black business owners. I own my business. I network with other like-minded black people to get things out. Sometimes the business proposals stay, sometimes they fall apart. Like even in my store, I give black people a chance to succeed, which means I showcase their artwork, their anime, anything like that. But guess what? I also don't sit there and hold them by their hand and tell them, come with me while I build. No, either you rise to the challenge or you fail. Those people that we've left behind, they're still where they are. I have no problem leaving them behind. At the end of the day, it's just going to have to be something where we say, hey, either you're with me, I'm not going to say against me, but I'm going to leave your ass where the fuck you staying at the end of the day. And that's the thing that a lot of black people need to pick up from other cultures. Because guess what? When certain Asians don't build, they don't go back and say, oh, I need to go back here and build. They say, no, you had the opportunity to rise with me. You squandered your chance. I'm not going to sit here and hold your hand. I'm going to hold you to task. When you're ready to do what you got to do, you're going to get up on your 2 feet and do it.
Agreed.
I understand. The thing, I'm getting that point there. But the thing is now I may not eloquently put it in a good context, but you're saying that, and that's a good thing that they are doing that without letting people know, because they will come in and destroy that if it becomes a big thing that they can work. Because anything dealing with housing, if you're talking about housing people.
But do you want to know the biggest threat to black people today? The
I'm
biggest
listening.
threat to black people today is other black people. It's not really racism anymore. The only time I can say this, look, the reality is this. The only time I can really understand when a black person says that they deal with racism is either on an individual level or when it comes to housing, because we've experienced redlining. Me and my husband have been looking for houses. We noticed they're trying to put us in the black bad neighborhoods. But that's where common sense comes in and research comes in. Other than that, the biggest threat to black people is other black people. I don't get threats from white people when I work here, but do you know who I do get threats from? Other black people. White people aren't here trying to tear down my business, but what do you know what I do have? I have black people that come in here try to steal from me. So at the end of the day, the biggest threat to black people is black people right now.
But I think there is still a level of, you brought it up. You brought it up in the right way of me thinking. Economic racism is there in certain levels. It's still there. When you talk about getting loans, business loans, loans for property, things of that nature, they're still there through zoning.
No amount of racism can stop a motivated black person from achieving. No amount.
No, but
exactly.
you got to understand here in the United States, they have what you call zoning laws, and zoning, the way they do zones for insurance and loans and covering buildings.
But do you know the way around that?
Well, we got around it because we had some other people that stepped in and did the work for us.
There you go.
They set the groundwork.
Somebody
so
got a lot
now
of feedback.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So they did the groundwork.
Because here in LA, they still right, but here in LA, you still having the deeds that the properties are not to be sold to Negroes. So what the old man did,
really,
they're still there. It's still here. Yes. What the old man did was
capacity?
we got one of the top white brokers on the West Coast, and she started purchasing properties. My cousin, when they didn't want to sell to any blacks in that particular neighborhood where he's out towards the Inland Empire, he had a representative that was white that came in, and then when they signed the paperwork, they realized that he was mixed, and they showed a piss, but it was too late because they could have sued at that point. But see, the thing is, they still do that here because in Beverly Hills they have what you call selective. What they do when they put that up, when they put the properties up, it's hidden. It's basically hidden listings. So what they do is they select who they want to sell to. That's how they do it. I guess I couldn't get it to my head how to explain how they're doing this.
I know what you're talking about.
Now it's coming out.
But
I
so now I'm be able to
I hear what you're saying.
Remember that movie The Banker and stuff? I didn't see that movie either. Yeah, the one about what the one with Samuel Jackson, Anthony Mackie's in about two black what was they, black brokers who was trying to get black people loans or homes and stuff like that, and hire white people to be the actual people, something like that. Yeah.
Right. See,
Yeah,
that's
tell
what
me what
basically
you
I'm.
kind of did. Yeah, but you know, they still if you have to do that, then do that and stuff until they finally realize. You know what? We have to start selling the black people straight up and everything. It's making us look more bad now. Because like I said, it's 2021 now and stuff. But also too, when they still give us those loans and everything, we have to still build up those communities to make it more valuable. I mean,
You
we
got to
have to
look at
start
the
holding
race.
So
other
then, hold
black
on,
people
wait,
accountable.
come on. But this comes back to taking a page from other people's culture, right?
Exactly.
So if they don't want to give you land in Beverly Hills, okay, why don't you go to the places that they're trying to gentrify and actually get ahead of the gentrification?
That's where I'm at right now. That's
Good,
where
good.
I'm at right
So
now.
there's your solution. I mean, you can't just
That's
whinge
where I'm
about
at right now.
the
I've
Because the
always said
houses,
that.
white supremacy.
we picked up this house for 680. Now it's 1.6, 1.5, 1.6.
Yes, but this needs to work on a bigger scale. And unfortunately, the reality is you're going to have to move a lot of low income black people out to put the black communities in that you really want to thrive there. That's going to be the reality of
Well,
it.
as far as the apartment units, my thing is to try to help low income people. That's why I had the biggest fight with my older sister about when we trying to decide who to rent to, who don't, because I want to help some of these
Wait.
people.
You said that you want to help them, but you said
You
that you're
want to help
doing
them, but
Section
yeah,
8 housing.
yeah. I'm
All
sorry,
right,
I'm
I'm
let me
not
talking
ready to
about
tell
like
assist
you,
on
Section
this
before
8.
you go
child.
These are
on,
government.
let
These
me
are
read
government
this super
assistance.
chat before you guys go on.
So sorry.
So, Man of Tomorrow, thanks, Man of Tomorrow. He says, Childhound, what company do you own and what is your experience with hiring these ninjas?
Well, for one thing,
He
we
trying to
have
he trying to
what's
troll
that?
you, man.
He's
So
trying to
just
troll you,
FYI,
child,
he
man.
trying to
Okay.
troll you, man.
I won't
So
even
just
answer
FYI.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
answer it.
I mean, if you want to, go ahead. But yeah, just give me a heads up.
Yeah.
It's called California L&M, and then whenever we tried to hire blacks, I'm telling you, we got some blacks in the inside office, but as far as workers on the outside, the old man as well as myself, we had to try to hire brothers. We had to end up on staff. We had to end up terminating them. So the Hispanic ones are the ones that we got to stay on course. Now I do have a couple of brothers that are contractors that are electricians and plumbers. I have them on call, so I call them, and at least I'm able to hire a couple of brothers to still be able to work that's doing reputable work.
All right.
Okay, thanks for answering that. So, let me see if any. Oh, so we have somebody new on the panel. But first, I want Ray to go. Hi, Ray Hanma. You there?
Yo, can you hear me? Is my mic too low?
I
We
hear
hear
you
you now.
now. So, what's your
Oh
thoughts
no,
on the topic?
shit. Y'all go ahead, man. I thought I was ready though, but I'll wait for a little bit.
Okay, so how about JP? Hi, JP.
Not there.
what's good?
He was
Hi.
just jumping on the pound and hang.
There he is. Drop down and come back up because you sound really, really bad. So I'm gonna
Digitize.
connect you.
Nigga
Digitize.
sound like a Decepticon.
Instead of going losing their voice box.
Yeah. Right. So you have nothing to
Oh
add,
boy.
Ray Hanma?
Hey
You have
Ray,
nothing to add?
Ray.
It's not ready yet. He's not ready to do it yet.
Oh,
He's not ready?
No, not yet.
I do
Okay.
think that there's another item that black men can borrow from other cultures. If you want me to share,
Sure.
Go ahead.
yeah. So I think another one can be that of education, right? Or black men being involved in their children's education. I know I've had these conversations with a lot of peers, really a lot of times older black men who kind of, one, they look at education as something that the mother's only responsible for, or that the school systems are responsible for only. So I know a lot of men who just kind of are not really involved in, like, when the kid comes home and they have homework, right? The man's like, yeah, I'm just trying to relax, right? After work, I'm not really trying to be involved, or, being involved with the school systems. I remember my mom used to be a big part of like LSCO, right? Or like the parents that volunteered at my elementary and middle school. There were almost no fathers ever there, especially no black fathers ever there being involved in that. And, I think that that's something that we can take from other cultures, where education is a big piece of what that culture looks at, especially from like East Asian cultures and whatnot. So
Agreed.
I think that's another one that we can borrow.
Well, I think that the choices of Western black women are responsible for that. They don't generally do due diligence when choosing a father or someone to sire their children, it's on them.
That's true too. So, all right. So
No, because the father also was involved in that procreation, right? So he's
but
also
she chose him. But she
he's
chose
also
him.
responsible. Well, I
Right.
understand that she chose him,
You know what?
but he's also responsible for that child's rearing and
But
upbringing.
also, bro, I'm gonna put in another perspective. Yeah, you're right, Gabe. Yeah, but also too, with situations when we got mothers using the kid as a pawn and technically almost not allowing the man to do his job as a father the way he is, then yeah, I have to agree with static one. Um, it's kind of making it more difficult for him to do his job to teach they kids education.
But there's plenty of fathers, even here in the black manosphere, that say they have joint custody with their children, or they have full custody with their children, right?
Yeah,
so I don't think it's only just
exactly.
women
But
aren't
not all,
only
but I'm
in,
saying,
in
not
control
all
of
of us
all
got
that.
thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars to get reached like that. Like like they have to pay so much more money to even finally get those equal custody. But that's not gonna happen for every man and stuff. But
You
in
don't
the
have to
situation,
pay
you just gave me an
be involved
idea.
in the child's
I think,
education.
but you also gave me an idea with that. You know what? Us black men, we probably should create resources also too, and our own funding for situations like that. For fathers that don't have the finances to get at least 50-50 custody the way they're supposed to for their kids. So we should create organizations and resources to help for fathers like that, that's struggling. Because women do that for themselves and stuff. So this is what us black men could do. And I think probably they do that in other cultures. That's something we can learn from other cultures instead of organizations for other men to help each other out, even financially, like like a stipend, or get some lawyers that's going to do pro bono or something like that. Yeah, like to help other fathers out and stuff.
Hello.
So it sounds to me like us black people have the worst culture out of
Can y'all hear
everybody.
me?
Oh yeah, we do. Yep.
I wouldn't say that.
Terrible.
The Western black culture is
Good aspects and bad aspects.
Yeah. Remember, we the most timid. We the most not timid. I said timid.
Innovative.
Yeah. No. Imitated. I think that's what it is. We're the most copied. I'm saying, yeah, we may be the most copied, but we're very dysfunctional, like crazy.
What's your measure of worse, Melody? Like why do you think it's just American black culture that's so much worse than everyone else's?
Damn, can y'all hear
I
me?
mean, can you say why? Why is that the reason?
Everything, just the single baby moms. We fat. The least desirable.
You got it right there. The first one.
You've been on YouTube too long,
one.
Melody. What you mean? Plenty of brothers and black families doing well out here.
Because
no, it's not in large numbers. It's not in large numbers.
because women run the culture. Simple
That's
as
what I
that.
mean.
Women run the culture.
Yeah.
That's simple. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yo,
Black
hey.
women control the culture.
Is that Ray?
We can hear you, Ray.
Ray, we can hear you, Ray.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, okay, I'm good now. Yeah, that's what I was gonna touch up on, okay. When they talk about like, there ain't no fathers in the home, all that shit. Well, I wonder why, motherfuckers. Shit.
Right.
All this
Man,
time,
bro,
the power of this
That's the
gynocracy and all that shit. You know
Yep.
what I mean? The power that's
the
given to these
reason.
damn women, dude.
Man.
So much damn power to where, damn it, they can put a man on child support. Damn it, that's not even his blood.
That's another
Man.
thing.
Come on, man. So if they have that much power, what the hell makes you think, damn it, they gonna allow a man to have the necessary influence over his kids? So therefore, damn it, so he can properly teach. You know what I mean?
And it's gonna
therefore
continue that way.
Yeah,
It's
so
gonna
therefore the
continue that
damn
way.
government need to learn the damn patriarchy of other fucking nations. Damn it, or it's gonna fall.
What's happening is white men starting to deal with what we deal with. So that's really gonna be the straw that's gonna break the camel's back. As if they keep dealing with this shit, they're gonna be like, nah, we gotta change these laws because we're not gonna be like, we're not gonna be like.
So you mean to tell me because women have a lot of power that a man can't go up to his school and understand and meet his children's teachers, can't be involved in field trips, can't be involved in.
He can, but
So
how much money does that man have to make to be able to do that? First of all, he has to
nothing.
provide for
You could just go up to
himself.
the school. What are you talking about?
Yeah, true enough.
Not
I know, I
really. If
understand that, but I'm
not
saying
if the mother
he has
says
to
that
work.
they got to order protection, force order protection against
Or he's not
the
even
Why is
child's
there a
father.
false order
protectionless.
protection against the
You
father of the
think
child? What are you
black
talking
women
about?
don't do that?
Does that happen in mass?
It may not happen in mass, but they will still do certain measures to keep the biological father away.
Yeah. See, y'all just looking.
A lot
Y'all,
of the
I think
time,
y'all looking for that invisible enemy. So
no,
again,
no.
that's
Can
something
I
that
can I
I
ask a
we can
question
understand.
to the
borrow.
men on the
I
panel?
Oh
understand.
Lord, no. Oh
Go
Lord, no.
ahead.
Did you
Go
say? Oh
ahead.
my God.
Can I ask a question? So I'm listening to y'all talk about women, children, and education and different things like that. So if I may ask the men on the panel, how many of you are unmarried but have kids?
I do. I got 2 daughters.
You have two daughters. Perfect. All right.
Yep.
So okay. So you fit the criteria. Um, the question I have to ask this, and I always ask this. I get it, and I know black women are horrible. I know right now. I see what's going on. I understand y'all plight, but at the same time, I have to ask y'all the question of for the men who have children, for the men who
Okay.
have children who are unmarried, what made you fuck her raw? Because I get it, but it takes two to have a child. And in my mindset, both of you are equally responsible for bringing that child into the world. Yes, I get it. She may hold that child against you. She may do these things to you. But at the same time, I have to ask the question of what did you do to prevent that? Like if you like it kills that conversation kills me. And it really baffles me to know that you have men out here that are having children out of wedlock. You can't push the idea of marry before you carry if you yourself are out here as a man are having children out of wedlock.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I don't care
women,
for. I don't care for
women.
these.
No.
I don't.
Let me say one
I
thing.
don't
Let
care
me say
for.
one thing.
Okay,
Wait,
go
hold
ahead,
on.
bro.
Let me say one
Let
thing.
Ray answer. Let Ray answer.
I just want to like women decide who gets born or not. Let's say the man gets a girl pregnant and she's like, "No, I'm gonna get an abortion," and he's like,
Okay,
"No, I
but
want
we
to keep
can't
the
really use
baby."
that analogy right now when
I
states
mean,
are
but
starting to ban
that's the
abortion.
case
So
though.
that's starting to be a conversation that's about to be thrown out the window. You just had Texas
I
do the
mean, yeah,
abortion. So
But it's just done.
and even
but
no, and it was before that. You do realize there's like 32 states that ban abortion, right? So
Yeah,
this
we
isn't
going
something that's
somewhere.
just new. It's something that has been happening. Alabama, as far as I can remember, you can't get an abortion unless it's a medical abortion for reasons or incest, rape, or medical termination. That's to say, if you have an ectopic pregnancy and the baby is causing some risk to the mother, that's the only legal way for you to get an abortion here in Alabama. But
Well,
it's
let me.
I can't stand that argument of, well, women are the women who have to deal with the blunt of it. No, you as a man can't sit here and say, hey, I got this woman pregnant, she's holding this baby against me, she's not letting me do this stuff, when you knew that she was an unfit mother. You put your dick in crazy, or you chose not to fuck with a condom on. Because as far as I
And that's
understand,
where I was
these
going.
women, you're not getting these women pregnant. Like, you're not like you're hitting these women one time and they're like, oh, I'm pregnant. You're going back and back. That means you fucked this woman multiple times
Yeah,
without
you
a
don't want
condom.
him to answer. You want to
I
like
mean,
beat
well,
him up.
I'm gonna answer
I
that.
want to. I want to
Yeah,
hear
let
the
Ray
dig
female
this
answer.
here.
panel.
Let Ray answer.
So,
Dig
Yeah,
this here. Well, dig this here. I've shown accountability before on the panel for that. You know what I mean? Expressing that, hey, I was fucking stupid. And the only and combined with dude said, yes. I mean, they allow women allow who goes in them. But but
Yes.
if I knew then what I know now, only if I knew then what I know now, I would have not done that. I would have done things properly. I would have built myself up. And matter of fact, hell, I should have vetted her ass first. You know what I mean? And recognized that, hey, that I was dealing with a feminist demon at the time. You know what I mean? But hey, you can't really blame. You got to think about it. Like, how long has manosphere and man been able to speak their truths and shit like that? How long has this shit been in existence? Like, what, 10 years or so? You know what I mean? And I came across a space like damn near 5 years ago. So yeah, I mean, I'm like that deep into it, and a lot of motherfuckers, the blue pill is super fucking strong. So strong to where you're gonna either have a man that's gonna take a stand, damn it, and awaken in their masculinity and say no fucking more. I'm choosing to value myself, damn it. I'm building myself up. Fuck these damn hippos. I'm focusing on myself and getting myself together. And whatever mistakes you make, because I don't look at my children as mistakes. I look at me dealing with her as a mistake. So therefore, I got to take care of that responsibility. All right, we know that. Boom, out of the way. Now focus on yourself, building up yourself as a man, and making sure, damn it, you don't keep doing the same stupid ass shit and having multiple ass baby mothers. Especially too is stupid if you know these truths of these women and how shit is now, and you still do this shit. That's dumb as hell. I have no empathy or sympathy for you as a man.
Now, I want to answer Queen's Q's question and everything, more like a challenge. And Ray brought up a point in that question. And so, you know why in situations like that, I put more like 60% on the women, 40% on men? Because females have final say-so when it comes to sex. They turn down more men than they are sleeping with. They have sex with the same little percentage of men over and over, despite to that woman at the time when she meet that man is new to him, but he's the same type of man that they always recycle. They have turned down more competent, well-do men that will do right by them and their kids to let a Pookie and Ray Ray type raw dog in them. And they women have final say-so when it comes to sex. So despite I do
the conversation was what men could borrow.
Hold again, let me finish. I do say men should carry condoms also too, but also females should reinforce it and everything too, because we're coming in you choose who to keep the babies from and who to terminate from. I have seen more females abort babies from well competent men and then keep the ain't shit brother babies and shit, and then come back and make these well competent men stepfathers and everything, and try to even trick them to be stepfathers. It's not a lot of us having babies like that out of wedlock like crazy, but like I always say, most of us, especially those that's over 35, whatever, and everything, our first kids won't be a biological kid. It will be our step kid and stuff. Especially where females is holding out the way they are, or want to get and have their kids and everything at a later age. They probably might even have a couple of abortions behind that, or someone be tricked and thinking that's our kid, and then wind up finding out that first kid is not our kid. She had a secret affair.
Right.
Hey, and plus,
Well,
I'm sorry, but
no,
can you hear me? I don't.
Gabe was trying to say something, and thank you.
Yeah, I was going to kind of try to expand the conversation a little bit more too. Maybe even making it like a little bit of a reverse, right? Like, what could other black men or what other men could learn from black men's culture? And kind of one thing that I can think of is that there is a way that men of other culture handle controversy. A lot of times they don't address it. Right, like when black men have an issue with one another, we will we will exhaust what that issue is. Right, we will tell each other how we feel. Where a lot of times they keep that thing secret. Like sometimes they won't even know that they don't like each other, except if it's from somebody else. So I think that that's one thing that we do very, very well is that we are very upfront with our dislike of, like, if you know somebody don't rock with you, you know somebody don't rock with you. So I think that that's one thing that other men can borrow from our culture of black men.
Gabe, do you think that is the case, or do you think they just do the same thing, just not in the public eye?
Yeah.
So I went to school with a lot of them. I've worked with a lot of them, and a lot of times what I've noticed is that they will tell a middleman before they will tell. Specifically, like I've engaged with Indian heavily, Chinese, and white. They will tell a middleman before they'll tell the exact person. Like they almost avoid controversy. So I wouldn't be able to comment on the fact that if they addressed it behind scenes, but publicly, they'll get a middleman before they'll tell the person up front. At least that's what I've observed.
Do you think that middleman acts as a moderator to make it so the image of what's going on is not seen negatively?
Yeah, I've been a middleman, and it's been more of a venting session than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with Gabe. Yeah, they're kind of more like venting. So you see, there's that job.
They're not looking for a solution. They just looking at somebody to tell who they got an issue with.
instead of confronting the actual person and stuff like that, you go to an outside friend. It's almost like high school. That's how a lot of high school fights starts. You go to a middle person, that middle person go back and forth. Might say the wrong information.
Risen, have you experienced something similar or like what?
So do you think this is the case so that way they can keep the work relationship alive instead of trying to beefing at work and arguing at work?
Let me tell you, a lot of times they doing that and they plotting that person's demise.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen that.
I've seen that. So that's what I'm saying. Like black men, we really don't do that a lot. I think that we a lot of times address our issues, be really upfront with it, and then the next thing you know, we friends type of thing. But I've seen a lot of people from other cultures plot the demise of people that they don't like. So
yeah,
I haven't seen that.
I had to fire one of my employees for that exact reason.
Okay.
What is
Anyone there?
I've had an experience with some of my workers where one worker wanted to fire his own brother, and then another worker because I want to fire him. I said, no, you can't fire him. Well, he needs to be fired. You got to fire him. I said, you're not telling me what to do. He's not going to be fired. I'm going to put him on the other crew. So I stopped him. And then the youngster that he wanted to fire, I saw a lot of potential in the youngster. And I say, no, you're not going to fire him either. So I put them both in the crew. End up having to fire that manager. And the other two ended up being two out of the three of my best workers now.
Are these some black folk or these some white folk or something?
Hispanic.
Oh,
because there's a whole lot of hating. Yeah. They have a whole lot of hating amongst themselves, man. I'm telling you, they'll come back behind your back, tell you a whole bunch of stuff behind the others' back, so that you could try to fire them. And I'm like, And the funny thing about it was, the manager that was causing the problems, he was trying to get the old man to fire me. And he didn't understand this was family. It wasn't going to happen. Then when he realized it, and then everything, when I started taking the helm, he was like, wow. And then he started rearing back at me because he started challenging me. So I said, eventually, he's going to dig his hole and I'm going to let him go. So he led a little revolt of the workers. I let him go ahead and go. My sister said, we'll go ahead and pay him. They paid him. They came back. So they get into it again. I told my sister, y'all got to stay out of this. This is a men thing. You got to let me handle this. So they stepped back. Dude walked off with everybody. And then a couple of them come back. We don't want to lose our job. Mr. Bart, we don't want to lose our job. I said, show back to work at 8 a.m. in the morning. You working. The other guys, they end up having him call. He was doing a mediator. So I said, yeah, they can come back, but you can't come back. You're done. Because you betrayed us. And he was shocked because he never thought he almost wanted to cry. But I said, all of this treachery and this BS, you thinking we need you that bad where we wouldn't get rid of you? See, that's the whole point. When you have workers, you don't let the workers think that you need them so bad that they're not going to fire you, that you're not going to fire them.
Hold on, child. You said the motherfucker was crying?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Because he had started that and he realized he was done. I looked at him and when he tried to come back, I was, no, you done.
Lesson learned, motherfucker.
Is this a non-black person? That a non-black person that you're talking about?
Yeah, Hispanic.
So I mean, it fits into your sort of general issue with non-black people and that they're here to attack you.
Well, I don't have an issue because I'm the one running the business, so there's no issue with me. You either do the work or you don't. If you don't do the work, you go ahead and go. Because that's all I want. I want people to produce. That's all I'm concerned with. Production. Hate to be like that, but that's what the old man was drilling in me. You got to be focused in one direction and you can't have no emotion about it. You can't show no emotion. You got to go ahead and push the issue, and if they don't do it, you got to let them know you're going to let them go. And if they don't want to listen, you let them go.
Well, yeah, and keep in mind too, child, there's a lot of them employers out there that will let other employees whom they favor to get away with such fuckery that they're trying to inflict upon another worker who's like a good worker. You know what I mean? I've seen it happening to men and women.
Right.
And it's fucked up. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, well, what can you do situation in that? You know what I mean? But
see,
that's worker until you find somewhere better.
Right, but
I was going to ask Melody.
Ray, that's one of the things that I do. I don't do favoritism, because if you do favoritism, that sometimes comes back and bites you in the ass.
No, Melly, I gotta add also thing also too. Black men can learn from other cultures. start a rite of passage for our younger boys without the interference of women and stuff. I know other coaches do that when it comes to the young boys, the rite of passage for men and stuff, and they make sure the women don't interfere, period, at all and stuff. We have young sons, younger brothers, nephews, male cousins and stuff. Yeah, when they come of age, this is the rite of passage to start learning your manhood, training, and everything. Like we need to start forming the men groups and not be shamed to have
like
women
a mitzvah or something.
Something like that. Exactly. They got the they got the bar mitzvahs. I think other coaches do it too. Also too. Yeah, I don't know. I can't name a few, but I've seen it.
For the girls, they do the quinceañera.
And then the girls, the girls, they got their rite of passage for the females. I think
you got a quinceañera, Melody.
No, I didn't have one. I didn't even have a sweet 16. I didn't have none of that.
Like, I think we allow the women.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I was a little bad. So
they took that away from you. They was like,
you probably would never know. But yeah, I was.
How about reversing the question, Melody? Do you think other women can learn anything from black women?
Other women learn from us? No. We learn from them? Yes.
What do you have to teach? Like, do you think they can't learn nothing from you?
Oh, for me personally, or are you saying for black women in general?
Well, from black women. Yeah, from black women. You're a black woman. That's what I was asking. So they ain't got nothing to learn.
No. Black women nowadays are.
I'm open to listen. What can you find?
I'm just asking. I think it's interesting.
What does black women do all day? Twerk. Walk around in PJs and bonnets. It's really nothing to learn. Weaves, hair weaves. I mean, what could they learn?
10-20% of actual competent feminine women and everything. Yeah, in our community, the black women that's like that, women like Queen Q and Melanie. Yeah, they small numbers and stuff. Yeah, like, and a lot of women don't want to learn from them. It's like they trying to indoctrinate them to be like the other strags. And it's the battle they got to go through.
Interesting.
We have a lot of fixing up to do before we can teach anybody anything.
I mean, we got celebrities like that song Nas did recently where we had to call his ass out, and he busy trying to call out a manager about how he should run his business and told him, "I won't leave him." Oh, you crazy? Like.
I've got to pose a question to the panel. Can I pose a question to the panel?
Yeah.
Okay, for everyone. If you knew someone was committing an offense or a behavior that was more likely to have a deleterious effect on society, would you try to stop them doing it? Would you criticize them doing that?
I would, yes.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially goes to the levels like an Elliot Roger type, and they'll like, I had to pull that dude aside, stop him, like, yo, you know what? Now it's time for me to start training you. Reality.
I think I would go to the proper authorities to deal with that, because I might not be effective in stopping it or.
Yeah, like I would say something, but forcibly stopping is another thing.
Some people will get violent. So you asking about a situation that can turn south quick.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm good. Like,
it wasn't really about
I address motherfuckers in person. Like, I don't go to no middleman, none of that shit. Just old way is the best way.
So guys, earlier we were. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, cut you off.
Nah, I would say though is that, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that other men, from other cultures, have a stronger sense of brotherhood than we do here.
That's true.
Well, one thing for sure is when it come to us, they stick together, boy. I'll tell you that right now.
Yo, Melody,
when it comes to that, they stick together.
Somebody timing out SKC. So
I'm about to give him a wrench. Yeah, I'm working on it.
SKC can never be timed out anywhere. Any place, he can't be ever timed out.
Yeah, he's about to get a wrench right now.
Community.
Let me give him one. Add moderator. Okay, you have a wrench now, SKC. So you're good. So what do you guys think about
I wanted to answer SKC question because he was asking who on the panel has children. I have a child.
Not
she's
yet.
Also married.
Huh?
I said, but you're also married.
Yeah.
You did it the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Not yet, but on the way.
What are you doing, love?
and to me, no children.
Hey,
So
Stoic.
what do you guys
Hey,
think
Stoic,
about
bro.
like putting your hands on women?
What's up, Ray?
Like you know, in other races of men, other cultures, they like
No,
smack their
I'm gonna let
women.
Melody get her question out. Well, would you ask that again, Melody?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I think
The
Ray just had a delay.
discipline of
No, I
women.
said ask that again.
I was saying, so what do you guys think? Like, Amira was saying that her man smacked her and smacked some sense into her. So, what do you guys think about that? Do you think that black men should start
No.
knocking some sense into black women?
There'll be a whole
Hell
bunch of us
no,
in
not
jail. There'll
him.
be a bunch of us
No.
in jail.
No, thank
I
Boy,
you.
know
there'll
that
be
was
arrests. There'll be a
nice.
lot of arrests.
No,
Only
no,
in self-defense, man. She try to attack me, yeah, I'm knocking her ass out. Fuck
I
that
don't. I
shit.
don't love
bang
these.
up.
Nah.
I don't love.
Can I
I don't. I
pose
don't. I don't
But
love these hippos like that. Damn it.
can I
Are you
pose a
asking that the
counter
men?
question?
Are you asking that the men?
Can I pose a counter question to that? Because I heard the men talking about that on GC's channel, and I get what y'all are saying. But the thing is about them is that what's the difference between disciplining her and her growing up and that being the norm versus black people who discipline their children, who whoop their children when they get out of line? And then two, I think the thing is that y'all are thinking that is if it's like if my husband's like, Quiana, go make me a sandwich, and I don't go make him a sandwich, he's going to slap me aside my head. They usually only reserve those for a last resort type of thing where they're just like, hey, woman, look, I didn't set this. You're acting out of line. Pop, pop. That's the thing that I think that y'all are missing is the context.
Oh,
It's,
I got what you're saying.
Mm.
You're basically
I got
But
what
I
you're
don't think
saying.
that.
you're,
I don't
you're
think
basically
that
saying it like
child discipline
basically
should be
saying doing it.
compared to a marriage
I
type of
get
thing.
You're
that. I
basically
get that.
saying
But at the same time, it's a culture thing. And the reality is
Yeah, it is
It's
cool.
her
a lot of
culture.
people tend to make it seem like they're just over there beating their wives. Like if you listen to what Amira said, she got like, don't get me wrong. Yes, my husband just said it happens sometimes, but that's no different than the domestic dispute, the domestic violence that happens here. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's one of those things where she stepped out of line. She knew she stepped out of line, and that is prevalent in their culture. And
which is
she got put back in.
once in every blue moon. Basically, I got you.
Exactly. Like even with our son, I try my best not to physically discipline him. But guess what? When he gets out of line, daddy gives him those pops and he hops back in.
I think
Yeah,
it should be
risen.
when in Rome type of perspective,
Also,
right?
we have to
Like
understand this.
the
We have to understand.
laws and the
Yeah.
don't align with that happening here,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And I
The
get
True.
it.
laws,
They
and
do it,
not only
but
the
I'm not
government
above it.
laws, but also laws of the in-laws. Hey, people,
If you
like I said, we got
if
too
you
many
judge,
Captain Saber White Knights that will intervene. We got Simply and the woman's brothers, fathers, whatever, and all that mess. Despite sometimes they fathers might have
There'll be
like
situations. There'll be situations where somebody be ready to pull a gun, and that's
exactly.
Yeah,
not cool. That's
here,
not cool.
I mean,
absolutely.
I know.
you can
That's not
they
cool.
will
Well,
they
I
will
like when
send
they're
you
that height.
Let me read this
they
super
will
chat real quick. This is funny.
okay.
Everybody coming for Queen
Q.
Q.
So
Yeah.
Queen Q wants black men to learn other men's cultures, but not the stuff that actually works.
Okay,
ahead,
so number
Queen Q.
to number 16, I have to say this. I don't look, here's the thing. Take the stuff that works. Their culture is not just based off of physically disciplining women. And that's the part that y'all are missing. There are other aspects of their culture that holds women and men to task. Hence the reason why I brought up the idea of you going and getting that woman, bringing her out of her culture and still expecting her to behave the same. It's no different than when I was up on GC's panel and I said, you want to marry this woman, you say yes, you don't mind your kids growing up in this culture, but you're not putting them in that environment where the culture reigns supreme. That's why I brought up that analogy of you having the children there. The whole community holds them responsible, which means if my child gets out of line in public, he can be checked by another person of my culture and put back into place. That doesn't always resort to physical discipline. And that's what y'all are y'all harping too much on the physical discipline part. Yes, I agree. It would not work here in the States because of the laws. But over there, as you said, their society, their laws are dictated by their culture.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Then you gotta
It
realize,
won't.
They don't.
It won't.
Go
It's
ahead.
not
but then
just.
you
It's
gotta
not just.
realize also too, they over
It's
here too
it's
also too. But they
it's not just.
they
It's
over
not just the law.
and
It's not
despite
just the law.
yeah,
Some
despite
people will get.
this,
They will get pissed off, and you said something about my kids, and they'll go off, and then you got a situation. It's not just the law.
Exactly.
It's
That's
the
what I'm saying.
individual.
I grew up in a time where, for example, I grew up in a time where my cousin did something bad. The neighbor saw him doing something he wasn't supposed to do. Do you know what happened to him? He got his ass beat by the neighbor. And then the neighbor took him home to my grandmother. When my grandmother asked what happened, he told him, your grandson was doing this. I beat his ass and I brought him home. You know what happened? My cousin got his ass beat again and he got put on punishment because they knew I'd rather you get your ass beat and be held in line versus you do something you're not supposed to do and end up in jail or worse.
Well, thanks to the laws,
hold
you
on. My
can't
husband
do
brought
that.
up a very good
Monster
point.
Day,
Thanks,
Hold on. Here's
thanks
the
to
funny
the
Let me
thing.
tell you,
laws.
Here's
that
the
neighbor
funny
would have
thing.
been in the hospital. You know that
And
neighbor
here's the
would have been
funny
got.
thing. Here's the funny
Could you
thing.
get
My
us
husband
killed,
brought up a
Pinky?
good point. My husband brought up a very good point. When I was younger, I got my cousin, for example, skipped school. I got my ass beat because I didn't tell that he skipped school.
The difference is, I mean, Queen, that's Queen Q, that's back then. You know what I mean? Like, we can't take
I'm
our
still
grown
gonna raise
selves
my
now
kids
and
though. But here's the
yeah, yeah.
thing. That's a cultural thing for me. And guess what? My kids will be raised the same. If you know that your sister doing something that she not supposed to do and she try to get out of pocket, by all means, put her ass in check.
But what's the possibility though of your kid being of the many of kids at a certain age when they, grow the understanding? Okay, I can call the damn law on your ass, woman. Hit me if
But
you want to,
It's
mom.
not
Ray,
just that.
I'm gonna answer that,
Hit me
Ray.
if you want to,
Look at
mom.
some of the stuff.
I'm gonna
Look at
answer
some.
that. Hold it, child. Let me answer that. Remember I said earlier, and I said when I was on Nate's show earlier, Little Big Nate's show earlier, when he asked that question. We have other cultures that's in the U.S. and everything, and despite the laws that might be on the woman's favor and all that mess, they still be in line with their men, no
Thank
matter
you.
what. Because the men enforce certain other boundaries that, you know what, if you feel like you want to go that route, then you're excommunicated out my house and everything.
And
Some
that's one
places
thing.
will
And
go
that's one
street
thing.
methods as the honor killings type mess and everything. I'm not saying I'm promoting it, but they would
Oh,
go
so
that far. And
so
the
Ooh,
so
hey,
majority of
address
cultures would get
number
away with it
16.
too.
Hey,
so
address the
that's
super
what I'm.
chat.
Work with the population of man,
And
like the
and, I'm,
culture.
and Mel, I'm glad you said it because again,
Oh, that's number 16. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, shit.
What's
Yeah,
good,
no,
super
I,
sister?
chat's up there. Okay.
no, yeah, I'm glad you
Read
said
the
it
super chat
because
real quick before
it,
you go. Your
yeah,
super chat. You
yeah.
said, if that is what keeps their culture in check and we cannot use it, then why try to learn anything from them?
Um,
Exactly.
because the thing is that you're missing.
I
You're trying
totally,
to make
I
it
What
sound
am I
like that's the
missing? No,
only
no.
thing that keeps
Wait,
them in check.
let me answer. Go ahead, sister.
So here's the thing. So when you're dealing with these other cultures, especially these cultures that do not have anything close to what we have, as far as like a Western legal system, what have you, you got there's two, from what I can tell, two punitive actions. One is to get that adult corporal punishment,
Is
or
that
is to
Cameron?
be kicked out. What is it? Kicked out completely and having no real financial support through
The
the legal
family.
system. Yeah,
Disenfranchised.
so either you're getting like you're getting that corporal punishment, or you are going to be out in the street painless or close to it. So if
Cameron?
you cannot take those things that they're using over there to control their culture over here, then what's the point of even learning what they're trying to like other parts of their culture? Because if they can really only do that in those countries because they don't have the laws they have here, then it seems like a moot point. So it's like, again, like Amira said, like she got smacked because she was doing something wrong. Now, if somebody would have, I don't know if that happened here or over wherever, but then it's like if people start doing that mass, you can start seeing way more men in jail because that's not
And then,
Why you sound
it's
like
not
Cameron,
accepted
man?
here.
and then,
Why you
not
sound
only
And
like
that,
once
Cameron?
Ray,
again, but here's the thing. Once again, y'all are going just back to the physical discipline. As I said before, there are
Whatever
other.
discipline, whatever
Okay, so
discipline.
hold on. So hold on.
That's
So let's say it
Hammer.
like this. Let's say it like this.
No,
I
no,
have a
no.
daughter, right? And she's like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't want to listen to you. I'm not gonna do this. You can't put your hands on me. Okay, ma'am. Take your ass out then. Leave. Because that's what my grandparents did to my cousin. My cousin pulled the same shit. I'm a boy. I can do this. I can do this. My grandma said, okay, here's your shit. Get out.
Okay,
But you know what?
so
Listen,
real quick,
Queen,
John.
I know a situation. Hold on. I know a situation that happened exactly like that. The child went and called the police. The police came back with the child and told them, because of the way the laws are set up here in this state of California, you cannot put this child out. You're going to have to accept him back in. So the
That's
child had to
California.
go right back in.
And,
Nope,
and, and
nope, nope.
And that's what's so cold about it. You can't even put them out.
Oh
okay,
yes, you
so
can. Oh yes,
okay,
you can.
Not
okay.
here, because the police turn around and bring them right
But
back.
but listen to what you said. Not there. That's the key. You have to. You can't just sit here and say, "Okay, I'm gonna do this," and not go to areas where you can do it. Like I said, my cousin was 16. He tried that shit with my grandmother. He was skipping school. I was getting in trouble because he was skipping school and I wasn't telling. At a certain point, my grandma was like, "Okay, since you want to be an adult, since you want to be grown, get out."
How
She
does
put
that
him
relate
out.
to adults? So here's my thing. Okay, let's take away
How does
adult.
it relate to adults? It's simple. If
Okay,
you get to the
let's.
point to where, if you get to the point to where you as a man have to put your hands on a woman, shut her out. Don't be with her.
No,
I don't
okay.
care
So
what
so
they.
here's where I ask you. Okay, let's take away adult corporal punishment, and you have a married couple, and somebody wants to exercise their culture, like I'm the man, you do what I say, blah blah, and the woman doesn't want to do it, and they're married here. So okay, I'm gonna send you out. So what happens now that
I have to
what is
ask the
it? That
question that I
no no
hold on, hold on,
no.
hold on. I
Now,
have to ask the question. Why would you
well,
marry
I
someone that's
wasn't
part of your
finished to
program?
even
Hey,
answer.
Queen, let him
I
finish.
wasn't even finished. So again, I'll repeat it. Got interrupted. If you take away the physical aspect and you have a man trying to what is it, have order in his home, and then the woman is not trying to get with him on that program, so his option is to get rid of her, which is in this case divorce. And we all know what happens no matter what state you are in this country. What's going to happen to that man? He's going to get reamed in family court as far as a monetary position, but also too get reamed on the from the children perspective as far as getting their visitations heavily removed them. So again,
Yeah.
if that's the option that you have here, so again, that's what I'm saying. In these other countries, the way it works there, it works because the laws allow for those types of actions to happen. So again, if I was in some of those other countries, yeah, sure, you're not following my directions, I'm not going to discipline you. I'm going to kick you out. Now you have nothing or very little. I keep the kids. You are cast out, and that's going to be, I would think, very much of a reason for a woman to, I guess, act right, as a word. But here it's like, okay, I can't discipline you, and then if I let you go, you're taking half my stuff at least, and I can like at the very best have my kids half the time. So what's like?
Hey, number
I'm not
16.
getting
If
it.
I can add to that,
Hold on.
bro.
It's
My
not a
thing
parallel
is,
system.
hold on. My
It's not
thing is,
parallel.
why would you marry a woman like that? If you're
Who's
marrying a
that?
woman, she should be all in to be on your program.
How many
Period.
men have married women that were all in their program just for that to change over 5, 10,
You
15, 20
hear
years?
me? Yes, man.
We're
Yes.
acting like people
Yeah,
don't
that
change.
some people, yeah, it changed.
People
This
The
change
this
West,
that.
is my this is my solution for that and
Western
everything. Us
programming
men, we got
destroyed.
to have certain contracts and marriages. We got
I
to start
agree,
changing different ways. A
and
big
I was
biblical
gonna bring
example
that up.
is if
I was going to agree to that.
if I
People
was king for a
people talk
day.
in the form
Matter
like
of fact,
marriage
if
reposition.
I was, but hold it, if I was king for a day, I would put couples through marriage training. I mean, you got to see a divorce lawyer and everything. Take divorce court training. You have to see marriage counsel training.
That'll
You
work
have to
out.
see all these different types of count like and each of those trainings, those three, right? You got to have like at least 3 months each of them.
And if the
To the
woman
point
still
that you know
wants
what,
to,
you sure you want to go through marriage. You have to learn different laws between both parties and stuff like that. You have to
Mm.
take classes. I will make them go through classes for couples
Man,
that
look
want to
here.
get married for a year. And then
Look
after
here.
that, if y'all still want to get married, this is how y'all going to get married. This is
It
in
sound
your
like y'all.
contract.
It sound like y'all are advocating for
King
marriage in
Mel.
the damn states, when
yeah.
marriage
But I'm
is
enforcing
so
certain rules, though.
foolish.
That's what I'm saying.
I
You
mean,
you
We
are
don't have
a
requirements.
fool for getting married in the states with the state of how things are now.
No way.
Until
No,
the
no,
laws
you're not.
change. Until the laws change, don't look for men to get married. Don't preach to men to get married
Nope,
until these
you're
laws
right.
change, so that man, the 100% custody goes into the man's possession. Okay, 100% custody of the kids goes
What
to
are you doing to change the laws?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's gonna happen.
exactly. That's
What about a prenup? What do you think about a prenup? How would that work?
that's part of my thing also too.
Uh-oh, we
Like,
just went back to the
but
marriage
All
conversation.
females that want to get married have to sign a prenup.
okay, and we already know
Marriage
that with
debate, round
judges they can void
75.
that if they want
No.
to.
If
Prenups
it's
do
written
hold
a
up in
certain
court.
way, if it's not written a certain way, yes, it's null and void if it's not
Can't
written
read-
right.
No,
The problem with y'all prenups, is y'all try to put in there that if this woman leaves me, she gets nothing and no child support. That would never hold up in court.
let's
Stop
be
doing that.
clear. No, let's be clear. If we did the whole lead attorney prescribed way of doing it, you both get two lawyers, one for you, one for her. You do it 6 months before everybody agrees upon it, and you get married. And when it comes to divorce, a woman can say, "I was forced into this because if he did not." If I didn't sign this, he was not going to marry me.
Nah,
Does
that-
does a
Those
judge
don't
have
really
the right?
hold up.
That
Okay,
depends
that
when you
depends
gave
on
her the
hold up
prenup.
in court.
You have to at least give the woman a prenup at least 2 years before y'all get married or something like that. If you
Okay.
gave it
No,
to the
not
last
2
minute, she
years.
could contest
Not
that.
2
They
years.
said 6 months.
King Mel has
Yeah,
They
6
said
months.
6 months.
I don't know, but yeah, if it's
No.
if
They
it's
said
two
6
weeks before the
months.
wedding, because I remember that basketball player went through the same thing and everything. I forgot his
Yes,
name. Yeah.
but do you know why it was thrown out? It was because prenups have to be fair. That's the other issue
Again,
that
but
is
who
dealt with.
determines fairness in the prenup? It's
Hammer,
the
Your
judge.
lawyers
It's the
do.
judge.
Right.
The lawyers do. Both
The
sides
lawyers do,
need to
yeah.
have both sides need to have a lawyer that's out for their best interest. You can't do it with one
That's
lawyer.
some straight up bullshit. And
Hammer, Hammer, you gotta let
trying
them
to
finish,
protect
yo.
your assets.
Cookie Gabe, I'm not Hammer.
But
Get
if
off
you
my
if
Hammer.
you
You
trying to
as a
protect your
man going
but
to
sister,
pay for a lawyer to do you a prenup. You as the man, you're paying for it. If you have him representing her too, you're the one paying for it. It doesn't matter what the fuck else.
Again, we keep talking about if you do this fair, do this fair. Can we just agree with this right now? With not and like this is fair, blah blah blah. Can a judge, regardless of what type of prenup is presented before them, regardless if we feel it's unfair or fair, do they not have the power to deny that prenup based upon their opinion, regardless of
The only time they throw
again,
out
that's what I'm saying. It
the
doesn't
only
matter.
time-
It could be as fair as both parties believe, but
no,
if that judge is
the
like,
only time they
no.
throw out a fair prenup is if some clause in the prenup was broken, and that's most of the
Exactly.
time cheating. So if you have a prenup and you cheat and you have a cheating clause in your prenup, it gets thrown out.
All right.
Again, you can't exercise their options. No,
huh?
We're not doing that. They can't exercise
No,
their options. Is that a break in the clause?
Yes, that is a break in the clause. Most prenups have clauses in them about cheating. There's also a clause in there which is considered I know some people call it different, but I know that it's called, like in most cases, called the sunset clause. The sunset clause is basically if you've been married for 40 years, or 40, 50 years, the prenup goes out the window. At that point, y'all have hit the sunset. There should be no reason why after 50 years y'all should be divorcing. So the prenup gets thrown out. That's what a lot of things have. But majority of men that get caught up with their prenups, especially men with money, they do have a cheating clause in them, which basically says, hey, if you step out on the marriage, and the reality is that's the one that a lot of women ask for when it comes to signing prenups. Believe it or not, the idea that a lot of women won't sign a prenup, that goes for a lot of middle class women. But women who marry men with money, they're like, I don't care. As long as I got the cheating clause in there, I'm Gucci. I don't care.
I'm gonna tell you
another fact I'm gonna add on to that also too.
Hold on, wait. If I may finish too. For the gentleman who's sitting up here talking about divorce, you do realize that 80% of divorces, women don't get alimony. You do realize that the majority of divorces, the payout that
I
don't care about
child
alimony.
support.
I don't have an alimony child support.
I wanted to mention this also. I wanted to mention this also too. But, and I seen this with two attorneys that are married, and they both got on prenups for each other. One thing that's not even discussed is updates of the prenup with certain situations with their businesses. Majority of men, they got to pay extra money to keep maintain a prenup also too, which a lot of rich men don't do.
You have to maintain a prenup, and you
exactly.
have to, you have to maintain your prenup. You have to maintain your will, and you also have to maintain your rights of rights of attorney or something. Those are things that are supposed to be updated technically every 5 years too.
Exactly.
Hey guys, basically,
But I'm
what
gonna
you're
That's
saying
I'm gonna
is
probably
share
one of
that
the
I'm
reasons
gonna
why
share a
Dr. Dre's
situation.
prenup didn't work with his
I'm
wife.
gonna share
He never
I'm gonna share a
maintained and
situation.
updated.
I'm gonna share a situation. The
Uh-oh.
Lemerks that created Lemerck Park here where I'm at to build all the houses here in the apartments. I met Walter M. I met the son, the grandfather, the son, and the grandson.
You're very
So when the
connected.
grandfather and the grandson passed away, the son, I guess he was lonely. What he did, he found a woman from Mexico that was an attorney, married her. I doubt it was a prenup because she was with him no longer than about a year, divorced him, took more than half all the properties. Situation is there was no prenup there, and then she gained, but what she did end up losing is the fact that even though she took the properties, she ended up losing the property herself because she didn't have the backing to keep the properties up. So they're losing properties there. But the situation is she married this guy. This guy decided he didn't want to marry an American woman, figured that this Mexican chick was going to be it. She was an
Uh-oh.
attorney, and that's the first thing you don't do is marry an attorney because they know the game. So she ends up marrying him, and for whatever reason, she gets the divorce. She gets the divorce, and all that property they put together, and all that money they had made, all that setup that they put together to create all of this, a lot of it ended up in her hands.
Oh,
So
that's his
man,
fault for not protecting himself.
somebody
Was that a
see when you,
commercial
but see
against
when you got,
SRSBM? Is that what you?
yeah, but see when you got situations like that, that's why some cats are like, man, I don't think I'm gonna get married because I don't want to lose what I got, and that's for real. Because the courts are going to rule in their favor, not us, their favor. And we realize that, and we see that. So that on one end, that gives us like, man, I don't want to take a chance.
No, it
exactly.
can't
You
be.
got how
And
exactly. You got
sometimes
motherfuckers
enough
think that
for
we
a
got
woman to
like
wreck
true
her home.
power in
She
this
doesn't care
motherfucker.
about
Man,
the
come
money
on, dude.
or the fallout from that. She just wants to wreck her home and leave the situation
On your way back,
for her
grab my
family.
phone.
But that's what I was saying though. What are men doing to get laws in our favor? That's what the women, the GAs, they've been doing that for years now. They get all their money and resources together, go to certain politicians, vote them in, and get laws passed in their favor. Tick for tat. Us men ain't really doing that. That's what we have to do.
It should be right. It's right there.
Because right now they're catering to the black women, basically. That's why I said
Exactly.
when they get done with the black women, they're going to kick it aside, and the black women are going to feel that when it happens.
I mean, bro, like it's just I'm
Well, this has
bewildered
been
as
great.
hell, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me up, Melody. Good conversation with everybody. I'm gonna drop down.
Bye, Jay.
Take
Bye,
it, game.
Jay.
Take it.
Bye.
Cheers,
Good. Peace
Gabe.
out.
Bye. See you later.
It
Okay,
seems like
so let me
people.
read this super chat. Thanks, Sun is Hot Raw. He says, with America's culture, they make it clear there's no protection big enough in Western culture. You can still get got if you step out of line, because there's a lot riding on that marriage money. That's
Yes,
true.
yes, because she also stated that in
100
her
son is
culture,
not wrong.
like if like it's bad on the man and the woman if they get divorced.
Exactly.
I
Mhm.
mean, man,
It's
no,
Because
like
no.
it's
and
like the
We
two
cannot
biggest
act like
and
sin.
they said
No, what he's
it's
saying
it,
is
it's a
what
it's not
stain on
equal.
it's a
no,
stain on the entire family in her culture if you
Yeah.
get
no,
divorced.
what he's saying is that no matter if you come over here, no Western laws is going to protect you from that culture punishment, as it were.
Yes.
And so
Right.
Yeah. That's
and I
Yes,
mean physical.
yeah.
yes,
Because of,
that's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
like it's like in her culture, she explained that let's say like her husband is been divorced already. She didn't say for what, but she said it was a valid reason. So, but she said in her culture, getting a divorce is bad. Period for almost any reason because it's looked bad upon on the man, the woman, and the families. Because other people who want to marry people in your family, let's say Amira got divorced, her cousin can be affected because of her divorce just because they're related.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. That's
it's
one
not
of the biggest
feasible.
punishments. It's like because it's part of their religion also too. Like let me use this, like Filipinos for a second. They I think they follow um Catholic. They're very Catholic religion and everything. And one of the things about Catholic, divorce is a big sin and stuff. So despite they can be married to men over here and they men can probably cheat on them, but they're not gonna divorce them and stuff because it's a big sin. They got that fear based indoctrinating in them about they have to fetch certain things that they just stay faithful to them.
So that's more of a religious indoctrination than the actual culture, because there
But
are
that's part of their culture also too.
no, maybe, but there are Muslim Filipinos, there are Catholic Filipinos,
Yeah,
there's Asian Filipinos. So, what I'm saying, if we're gonna bring the Catholicism in it, it's more of a religious base.
yeah. But
Um,
even marriage religion, oh she Muslim or something like that. What religion she follows? Yeah, that's part of her culture also too. Yeah, yeah. Like some cultures, they that's part of their religious culture also too. The spiritual part, everything, financial, yeah. The family, they incorporate all of that into their culture.
But
So
here's the funny thing too. Here's the funny thing too, Mel. She stated before, and this is why I find it funny. She stated before in their culture they don't marry really for love at all. She's like marrying for love is
exactly, they married
extremely
for
rare.
duty.
They
Love
marry
doesn't
for
exist.
duty, and they
Love
have a
doesn't exist.
duty and a contract to each other. So because of the families, what they're saying is that is an agreement that has become upon, and when you break that agreement, you're basically breaking your word. And that's the thing that I say, like, that's something that we as a whole, as Black people, can learn from other people's, because if you look at other cultures, they take their honor and their integrity very seriously.
Maybe we should marry like that then. Maybe that might change the dynamics of what's happening.
They
Now
take
I'm
that
gonna play
very
devil
seriously.
advocate on that.
But
Because I know with the arranged marriages also too. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate on
and I
that.
know people who are in
But
arranged marriages that have what is this, some issues, that because again for them, like I work with somebody who he pretty much went home just to visit people, and they sprung him with a wife pretty much as soon as he came, and he had to eat that because the and just the a massive amount of familiar pressure, not only back in India but back here as well. So now he has his like wife or whatever, and things are fine. But then I've heard other stories where you had people who were like legitimately hate each other, and you had both families pretty much on their ass for months not to not to divorce. So they had this extremely, how the kids say it today, toxic relationship, but they're only in it just because their families wanted to keep them there. So there is it's sometimes it's not about like, oh, like we just believe in marriages so much more. It's like, no, you get extremely shamed into staying into marriages, and that's why when some of these people, they come over here and they finally get like, ooh, I have this freedom, they check out. And of course not for everybody, huh?
now I would say, like I was saying with the devil's
Well,
advocate, but
in
some case,
the Mirror's case, her father gave her the choice.
Yeah,
In the Mirror's
I'm
case,
gonna just do a response
yeah,
video.
I think they vetted the partners that they feel that she was going to marry and everything.
yeah.
In some cases, for the men also too, they have families that try to use fear-based tactics against the men to marry their
All right,
daughters like
But
crazy.
all right.
I heard those
Number
stories.
16.
Yeah.
but this
Number
comes
16.
back down to leadership and being in the household, and the
All
men
right,
that
all
are
right,
leaders
all right,
there.
all right, y'all. Number 16. Goddamn, man. Hey, number 16, bro. Hey, don't forget, bro. Remember, right? Okay, Will Smith, his situation, Dr. Dre. Motherfuckers forget
Yeah.
about that. You know what I mean? Come on, man. And no, the one of the big reasons why the women are in line over there overseas is because they are not allotted with such alimony and shit, damn it, that is given to women
All
over
right.
here. Meaning, damn it, yes, they see the benefits of that, okay, of this man having resources. So therefore, if they divorce, they know, damn it, that they ain't gonna hardly get none of the resources that women get over here when they divorce.
Exactly.
But Ray, they over here also too. And despite they could get resources out of the men, they still stay with the men over here.
Again, like I said, from some of the people I've seen, it's not so much because they have it's just a veneration of marriage. It's because they get extreme family pressure to stay in that. But that's a whole nother thing. But again, like I heard, I think Queen say is like, if more men were, I guess, to be present and to build up and really take the reins. Again, let's not start this again where we know that a majority of the kids in our community are born to single mothers, and not only that, we have an increased amount of women who have additional children with other men. So again, it becomes a point of, if the women are not choosing proper men to even attempt to have a relationship, then what are we gonna do? Like, again, am I gonna try to go out and rescue one of these women and say, hey, please stop, please stop laying down with these poopies, please, let me save you, or go to some of these other professional women or whoever and say, like, please take me, like, I do make a certain amount of money, but please, can you have a life with me, blah, blah, blah. And then with all that, still try to do that with the confines of the American legal system and family court that we are all under. That no matter how patriarchal, how strong, how much of a man you are, all it takes to break that up is somebody just to file a divorce. And that's pretty much it.
Exactly. See, the
Also,
romantic
too,
love,
like we got
romantic love
situations like
is a Western notion. It allows people to make mistake after mistake and just blame it on some concept of love. I didn't love this person, so that's why I'm doing this behavior.
we also got situations like Brittany Renner and PJ Washington, and she's promoting the whole thing of it's stepdaddy season.
But listen,
blah blah and stuff.
Listen to this, Mel. Here's the thing. We already have the solution to fixing this. The reality is, one, either you find a black woman here in the States that's on your program that fits you, or two, you date out.
Most will not.
That's a fact.
Most will not.
Wait.
The dysfunction is too deep in Western culture.
No.
It's delusional to think that you're going to find that anywhere really in Western society.
That's what I'm saying.
Rubbish society.
You have to find it where you can. And if that requires you to leave Western culture, then do that. That's why when the men here sit there and say, hey, this, that, and the third, that's what started the whole conversation over at GC's thing about can black men learn things of other culture, which is, yes, you have to adopt that. If you want that submissiveness to be passed down, if you want to build that, the reality is you're going to have to step out of black culture. Even me and my husband realize that. So if you go out of country, if you find yourself a wife, don't bring her back here. Stay there where that is encouraged.
Of course. No, of course.
There's a reason why most majority of the passport brothers is succeeding in their relationship and they showing receipts.
Yeah,
a lot of men want to see so much.
and I fucking love it. But here's the thing. As I think I want to say Pablo has even said that he doesn't allow his woman to partake in Western cultures. Forgive me, Pablo, if it's not you that said that, but I know that one of the SYSBM brothers said that. And I'm like, it still comes down to you surrounding yourself in a community of people that are going to uphold the stuff that you say. So that way you can raise your children to reflect that. And the reality is this, we know the problem. It's the media, it's the environment here. So if we know it, why are we still trying to force things to change? That's insanity to me. If I know what the problem is, I'm going to distance myself from the problem. Hence the reason why, one, my son is in private school. Two, I don't associate with women who are not married and that do not share the same mindset. Three, when I go to pick the community that I go to live in, I'm looking for people that are emulating what I do. So that way I know that my children will grow up in a community of people that emulate the ideas that I have. So that way I don't have to worry about that.
That's why we was trying to tell you that marriage do not work.
You're a bit low.
I'm a married woman. Wait, what are you talking about? Hold on. I'm
not talking about you specifically.
Do not make the rule.
He's not talking about
but you know what? I'm agree with her point right there. Ray Harmon, yeah. Earlier today, I was listening to an old video, like old clip with Kevin Samuels and Jessica X. It's about a gold digger subject and everything. I hope she's still in the chat and everything. One thing I know is when Kevin was telling everything that despite what women are over here, I still create my own outcomes. I still choose who I want to be with because I know what type of man I am. I don't surround myself with this type of strag of females. I surround myself with feminine type of women and everything.
So do I.
Like you can create your own outcomes.
That's why I don't understand when I hear so many men complaining about the type of women they're dealing with.
No, because here's the problem. We got to take away from who is trying to marry a damn strat? Who is trying to marry a 304? Who is trying to marry somebody who's twerking, who sees twerking as a national treasure? Nobody's doing that. I'm talking about people who are marrying those who are like upstanding people. I'm not even talking about people like who are marrying people who are like evil or conniving or whatever. I'm just talking about if you are marrying a woman who is just average, normal, like what have you, just like nothing's wrong with her, with all the things that she is afforded when it comes to divorce, it makes divorce that much appealing.
Exactly.
When it comes to
Exactly.
when it comes to something where it's like, okay, we're having an issue that can be worked on. Okay, fine, let's work on it. Or hey, you know what, we're having this issue, and you know what, I don't really want to deal with this. Okay, time to divorce, and the ease of the divorce and the benefits that one is getting from that divorce. Again, like I said, makes it extremely appealing. That's why you have women filing for divorce way more than men.
Right.
And so
don't
it's
forget,
No, hold on, wait.
But
I have to
see,
get
I'm gonna
pushback.
challenge that a little bit.
I have to get pushback on
don't
that. for
forget
this.
they do it, and don't forget they file for divorce even when they cheat.
Hold on.
But I'm gonna give a little pushback on that.
Exactly.
You
have
go
to.
first, Queen. You go first.
I'm sorry. So I have to give pushback on that because a lot of the times the way that you men on the panel make it sound like as if me and my husband, for example, it's like I wake up in the morning, you say, today's the perfect day to get a divorce from my husband because I'm not feeling right today.
That's you, though.
That's
You're talking
who's
about
saying that?
anecdotal.
Who's saying that?
that's what it
Anecdotal.
sound. That's the way I'm
Again,
telling
what it
you.
sounds like
That's
is not what it is.
That's
no,
you
no. What that's
individually.
what it sounds like.
No,
That's
that's not
all
what
I'm
we're
saying.
saying. Again, like I just said, you can you have a scenario. You're having issues, marital issues at home. Just I can't even think of a scenario, but there's something that you have to work
What's
on.
the something?
Oh,
The something matters though, because that's the thing that I noticed that y'all dance around. Y'all say something,
The
but the
something
reality
can be
is the something is.
you
Hold
don't
on.
like
The
his feet,
reality
I
is
smell of
think
his
something a
the
lot of
something
the
could
time
I
be
mean,
is cheating.
Okay, let me give a
something can be
pushback on that.
cheating. Something can be financial issues. Something can be what is it? Issues with a sudden disability or issues with child rearing.
But the
Whatever.
statistics don't reflect that. Majority of the statistics. Let me say this.
What
Ever
statistics
since.
are you
statistics
Okay,
referring
hold
based
on.
on
to?
what?
I'm about to break
Based
that
on
down.
women's testimony.
The breakdown is like this. I don't like no fault divorces. I'm with y'all on that one because the reality is when no fault divorces became a thing, we could when they weren't a thing, we could accurately track why people were getting divorced and the reasons for being that. Back then you had to have a legitimate reason. One of the main reasons that led to divorce was cheating. And statistics show that majority of the cheating was done by men, which is why back then you would have women who would wait 6 months and gather 6 months worth of evidence to be
No.
able to prove in court that their husbands were cheating. I agree with you guys. I don't like the no fault divorces. They
Statistics
need to
say
go away. So that way we
statistics
can
say that's
accurately
negligible.
reflect what is going on in these relationships.
Statistics say that the
Let's put it this way also
incidence
too.
of
Let's be real
infidelity.
also too.
Let's be real.
Let's be trying
Statistics
females that's
say
divorced. Have you
that
actually
the
paid attention to the bracket they in, the class bracket? We all know most percentage of couples that make over 6 figures, higher class, they're not divorcing the high rate that you think they are. But yet we do pay attention to in the celebrity field so much and make that seem like that's the big percentage. Or we take situations that happen with Jeff Bezos being a multi-billionaire and think that's the extreme measures.
Who's
Newsflash.
using
I
that?
mean, yes. I mean, he was worth $150 billion, and he gave his ex-wife that he'd been married for multiple years of an affair that he had $38 billion.
Who's
That was to him. That's chunk. Let me finish. To him, that was chunk change. He knew how to take that loss, and he took it. And he doubled and tripled his money as of right now after that divorce. Most
yes,
majority of men don't have money mindset like that. That you know what? If I lose, here you go. Pay you go. You did her job. I'm gonna make that money back like no problem. Marriage is
that's like
supposed to be
that
a
Chris Rock.
business.
That is
What
like that
percentage
Chris
of
Rock
divorces
joke. No,
is done in women in middle class to lower class communities? And it's
that
mostly
is
always
no.
financial.
That's
It ain't because of
exactly.
infidelity or abuse. It's mostly financial.
Exactly.
But that's crazy because that's like that Chris Rock
But it
joke
doesn't,
that
like, my
Chris Rock
thing is,
joke
it
all the
doesn't
time.
make sense because it doesn't make sense for it to be majority financial when if you're having financial problems, why divorce to have more financial problems?
Because
Ask the women. Ask
yeah,
women.
ask the
Like
women
doing
because
80%. Ask
Like,
them.
bro, like because I believe it's me personally, I believe it's because of cheating. Because think about it. If you're in a middle class person, let's say the man and the woman, the man and the wife works, and she take care of the household, finds out her husband is cheating. You telling me she's not gonna be like super angry, upset that one, she has to take care of the kids, the household, and she gotta work and deal with him cheating. Come on, man.
So you
Well,
so
this-
you're
no, this-
saying that
hold on.
because you can't believe that that a woman would leave because of financial issues.
I'm not saying-
Now
I'm not-
you're saying that it's most
I'm
likely
not saying she
because
wouldn't leave. I don't think that's the majority of the reason.
You're pedestalizing women. You're pedestalizing.
That
You
is the
can't do
majority
that.
reason why it's not infidelity or abuse as they say. It's financial and stuff. He doesn't make enough. If she was making, if she was with a man that make over six figures and everything, she ain't divorcing him like that. She ain't gonna be able to find another man easy that make a million the way she did the first
If he
time.
didn't make enough, she probably wouldn't have married him in the first place.
And statistics
no. How many times have we? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But this is the whole thing. Like I said, this is the whole thing. They be like, they falling for them because of that good D. That's the main point. To her, that's a high top man that she could get. That good
So
D.
Mel, may I ask you a question?
Infidelity between men and women is negligible.
Yeah,
Mel,
exactly.
may I ask a question? Why is it then, if what you're, because listen to what we're saying. Whoop, shit. Listen to what we're saying real quick. Ow, that hurt. I stepped on the bar. But
Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself.
So there's a reason why, if you notice, men that are high earners, when they cheat, their women usually allow them to cheat a certain number of times before it becomes a problem. And the problem that you have is that you have middle class men trying to conduct themselves as high earning or high value men, and that does not work. It does not work.
Bullshit.
Bruh, y'all, I hear it in this space all the time. You got all these men in here who are not high earning, like they make some good money, but they're not all these super high value, super rich men talking about I got options. I'm in a married relationship and I got options. And like I heard a dude on somebody's chat the other day saying he's married and he's cheating, but his wife don't know, knowing damn well if she found out she would divorce his ass. But he's so scared of divorce. But he's so scared of divorce, but cheating on his wife and keeping it from her.
So one dude equals how many men? 10,000, 20,000 in your eyes?
But I want
the
answer
men in
that.
other
I'll answer
cultures, the men in other cultures don't. Hey, they don't have that problem because their women. Hey, if their women catch them cheating, they'll shut the hell up.
And that's nothing to do with money.
No. It's not that. It's because the women who catch their husbands cheating, it doesn't become public. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with that. That's the problem. Y'all don't like. I'm gonna be honest.
It can be public.
No.
Yeah, that's not.
Majority of the time, when they find out that their husbands are cheating, they tell them straight up, "Look, if you're gonna do that with her, do that with her. Keep it quiet, but don't embarrass me." That's what you hear. What is the number one thing? Don't embarrass me.
No, that's a fact. Yeah. Remember,
do not embarrass me. You know what?
Remember how a lot of giant men in this space even get flacked at me or Alan Curry for doing the more one approach, being straight direct. Because a lot of men ain't straight direct with their women, even the married ones. If you want to have other women for sexual activities, then be straight direct with her. She gonna lay rules on you. Okay, I understand that. You're here to take care of me home. I know a place. Just don't embarrass me. Don't have no oops babies, and don't come back with no diseases.
Thank you, Mel. And that's the crazy thing is that is the reality for a lot of couples. When they hit a certain age, the women are understandable about that, but the problem is men are sloppy. I don't. I've been damn serious about that. I am damn serious about that. Like you.
So it's not sloppy. So it's not sloppy when a man finds out that a kid that he thought was his was
not
actually
the same.
not. So that's not the same.
No.
It is the same. It's actually a little bit worse.
Yes,
that's actually worse than the men being sloppy.
No, but then I keep hearing this. Oh, men are sloppy, this and that. But when you go
men
and you go and get what is it? Some type of medical
Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing.
Hey, this child that I've raised for 12, 13, 14, or 8 years is actually not my child. I think that's fucking sloppy.
Yeah, that's actually more. I agree with 16 on that. That's actually more sloppy than how the man is doing it. In a lot of ways, because you deceived the man. You juice his money and resources. You knew that wasn't his kid, and yet you sort of tricked him to take care of you and your child.
Not only that, once you go and he's like, "This is crazy. I'm getting divorced." And you know what? I'm sorry, kid, but you are not my blood. You know what? He's still gonna have to pay child support for a child that's not even his.
See, number 16. There's no vigor. There's no. They don't come with the same vigor though towards women that they do with men though. See, that's the thing. You know
No,
what I mean?
no,
It's
no. I
always
don't
like
support
man
that at
this,
all.
man
Maternity
that.
fraud is more
But they
prevalent
don't
than
bring
what
the hammer.
being
But they
said
don't
here.
bring the hammer down on these damn women.
And you know
Oh
how
no, I
prevalent
support
that
it.
is? You know how
But hold
prevalent it is? You have countries like France that don't even allow was a paternity test like that because they said that it would break the family structure because they know how many women are doing that to guys out there. What would happen if a man found out that the child that they thought was theirs was actually not. So that's why that 23andMe and the Ancestry.com stuff is hitting a lot of people hard these past few years because all of a sudden it's like, hey, this is not my family line. This is who in the hell is this? And you gotta, and the kids and the father gotta look at the mother like, what the fuck's going on? So this is where it's like, okay, men are sloppy enough. Fuck that. I mean, like if there's an outside baby, okay, that's sloppy. But being told that the kid that you loved and you wish that and you raised, you put all the energy in, it's not yours. Some and probably not even some freaking upstanding guy. Probably some goddamn pookie who's probably seeding up some other people, and then it's like, so you're raising that bastard's kid. So it's just it gets to a point where I can't accept that shit. Come on now.
You can't. We've got to get pedestalizing women, man, and just making them seem as they're pure. In the West, they're generally not pure.
No one said
And
they were
do all
pure.
manner
No, nobody said they were pure.
No one said they were pure.
dysfunction. They engage in all manner of dysfunction.
But we were quiet until I brought it up. So that's the thing. It wasn't men are sloppy, but also too women can do this. It wasn't until I said something that all of a sudden now, we never said this. But even beyond no fault divorces,
at that particular moment, we no one said anything.
Okay,
about
what we were saying, sister, is that what the women would say when they deal with these certain type of guys. They know these guys are going to cheat, so they just allow certain rules. Don't break these rules. Other than that, go do what you want to do, because she understands a man's sexual nature, especially those that are high power and everything, and is unlimited thirst for sex. There are gonna be times that female ain't gonna want to have sex with her
Bill Gates.
husband. But is she rather her? You know what? I know she's dealing with another woman, instead of actually not telling her, go behind her back, or she just don't know about it. But just don't be sloppy about it and stuff. She's still getting more benefits because she's still getting the money and resources.
Yep.
Take care of him.
For example, Bill Gates, he had a whole girlfriend that his wife knew about.
I don't give a shit about Bill Gates. He's a billionaire. So like most people don't even crack 100. Most people don't even crack 100K. So why are we talking about mega rich people? No, I don't care about Jeff Bezos. I don't care about Bill Gates. It's like you're talking about money that
like I said, these are rules.
Like generations of people won't
Then
see
don't.
that.
If you don't care, don't use those same men as examples when it comes to divorce.
I never use that. You're taking one person and you're trying to extrapolate that to everybody. You take that one person, find out their name, and say, what is it? Cool guy 165 said that he could cheat or do whatever, and he's fine. Don't attribute that to everybody. Let's not.
I'm just speaking. I'm speaking in general. I'm not saying you.
I mean, but okay. Even beyond the non-fault divorce, if there was, like I said, a much more equitable, if not just equitable, family court that was like, hey, the alimony, like in other countries, the alimony is temporary. It's only for a few years to get you up to your standard. But not only that, but it's like, hey, by default, 50-50 child visitation. You're not having to spend 50 to however much $1,000 to get to get somewhat of access to a kid. If it was more equitable that way, it's like, fine, you want a divorce, do that, fine. But as a man, now I know that, one, I'm not going to be held away from my kids, but also, two, I'm not going to be going to the poorhouse to support you afterwards. So that's, if we get that done and someone else to divorce me, that's going to suck. But at least I know that my rights are, like, I'm getting equal rights. That's all I can say.
Now, I'm gonna put another perspective. I think Queen Rizzo was asking about. Let me finish real quick.
Right,
I think y'all was asking earlier about why in the middle class women divorcing more, and I was saying it's not because of financial. Not because of abuse and infidelity. It's more financial.
Yeah.
Most women. It's the old saying that we always say: men are as faithful as their options.
And
Most
they think they
majority
can
of
get a
females
better
are with
deal.
certain men that they know, even though they might not suspect or might lie, deny themselves. They know their man's gonna creep behind their back. Along the way that they together, at least they probably expect that man to make over 6 figures and all that mess. So it's like their version of investing in the man, the same way we invested in a woman by spending our money and resources. In return, we want sexual access and commitment from them. It's the same way
Or
with them. They
well,
invest in their
There's
beauty
men,
but listen,
and everything
there's
to
based
men
on
us.
overseas that
based
don't
on
even
what
have
you
to
just
make
said,
six figures
based
to have
on
their
But
woman.
I'm not. I'm not saying they have to make sense. But
listen real
that's
quick,
how the
listen real
females
quick.
taking it in a lot of ways. That's why they stay with them. That's why the divorce rate is so high in the middle class community, other than upper class, is so low. Because I'm not going to divorce a man. This is like the top high value guy that I have left that I'm going to get. I divorce him. I might not be able to get another high top value guy as I got now. And a lot of females trying to gamble on that chance. Most of the time they lose behind that.
How
So might
many
as well stay with the man
times?
that they with if
But
they hot top
but
high
you
value
just
like that.
but you just said they understand if a man is only as faithful as his options, but she's willing to deal with it as long as he makes money. So you just admitted that
I,
they're more than likely
let's get
cheating.
away from this cheating stuff because this is muddying the waters. How many
Yeah, bro.
times have we listened to Kevin Samuels? If you listen to Kevin Samuels, where you had the woman say, "Yeah, I divorced her husband. Why did you divorce her husband? He wasn't ambitious enough." Well, what do you mean? Well, he wasn't trying to make the amount of money that I thought
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
that we should
Exactly.
have. And it's like, and that's why he asked women, like, "Hey, like, can you?" What does it take having a man who's making middle class money, which is good, and only making that throughout your life? And they say, sure, but as long as he has ambition, that is one of the biggest reasons. Like I said, a financial.
Me
Exactly.
Bro,
personally,
And to
I
and
ma-
to them
I
and to them
made
they gonna
ambition
say
is
that he
more
don't
about
have ambition.
yeah.
I
To them
made
ambition is
They're
more
I
gonna
may
about
have
say,
do
watched
you have
enough
do you
Kevin.
actually are working and getting the
I
stuff that
may
you're
damn that.
ambitious about.
I may have
These
not have
same
watched
heifers,
enough of
dude.
Kevin
These
Samuel's
same heifers
videos,
that make that
but
damn
from what
complaint,
I've
they
seen,
can't even make
Yeah.
ramen noodles.
I haven't watched. Maybe I haven't watched enough of Kevin Samuel's videos, but based off what I've seen from his videos, a lot of those women said they didn't marry him because he didn't make enough money. I didn't really see too many saying they
No,
divorced him because
yeah, no,
maybe I
some
haven't watched
divorce,
enough.
some divorce.
No,
As
the
in,
part that
You've not
Maybe I
watched
haven't
enough.
watched
that's
You've
when
enough.
not
they
watched enough.
divorce
You've
their
not watched
husband is
enough.
always financial. He wasn't ambitious enough. To them, ambition is more about
Maybe
okay,
that's why
is
I
he
said
or does he
maybe
already got the money process going on right now?
that's
Does
why I
he
said
got
Not
money?
maybe I
not the
haven't
working
Does he
watched
got
enough.
Hey
process.
I've
Mel,
ambition?
But
seen.
hey
That's
He
why.
Mel,
can't even cook
that's
a regular
hey,
meal. Come on.
That's
yeah,
why I
but hey,
said maybe I
that's
haven't
that's
watched enough.
typical.
I did
That's
see where they
typical.
didn't marry him
Raven.
because of that, but I haven't seen where
That's
they said they divorced him
Good.
because of that.
no,
That's
there have been
typical.
quite a few.
That's typical of a woman that sees a man and she looks at the potential. So then she gets with him in the hopes that okay, this is what he's gonna do. Now she's already making
exactly,
plans for him, but see, he don't even know about these plans. But he's
Exactly.
moving in his
exactly.
pace that he's going. But she's like, no, you're gonna have to do this, and want to tell him how he should progress and how he should run his business or how he should
Work an
do
extra
his career.
job, do
Like
So
whatever.
that's
Kevin always talks about why the white women, Latinos, Asians, they get with their men young when they're young and in college. They already see the ambition in them already in the process.
Man,
Black women
before they
don't do
talking
that.
about all this damn ambition shit and all this
Exactly.
here, damn it,
Like
Heifer,
so
tell me what meals can you make, Heifer? Tell me, damn it, what can you do, damn it, Heifer, when I come home, damn it, from hard days of work and shit like that? What can you do in your template as a woman?
Okay, so if I may speak in, if I may jump in, I think that there's the disconnect between what goes on. I listen to Kevin Samuels and I understand where he's coming from, but the disconnect happens between is it I want to ask the men on this question.
yeah.
And this is the question that Kevin Samuels asked. And I think that the men missed the point of him asking this question. As a woman, are you okay, perfectly okay marrying a man who will only make $41,000 a year for the rest of his life?
Like an average man.
and you
Now,
see
Like
you
an
see
average
how
man.
hold
they
on, wait,
change.
wait, wait.
Hey,
Let me tell you
Oh,
why. Let me tell you why. The reason why when women say no, they are correct in picking no. And I want men to understand why we say
No, I
no.
can't
no,
go with
I
that.
already know
Hold
that.
on,
I
wait,
already
wait, wait, wait.
know. I
Please,
already
please,
know.
please. Let me break it down for the men who don't understand, right? When I married my husband, we both were in the military, right? So my husband was making on average $37,000 a year being in the military. So let's say he said, hey, Queon, I want you to be a homebody wife, which means you're going to sit at home, you're going to take care of the home, and I'm going to work. And let's say I say, okay, let's do that, right?
The tradition, yeah.
The traditional thing. that $37,000 may have been able to support it when it was just me and him. But when you add a child into the mix, you come to realize how thin that $37,000 a year can stretch.
Then you
So
shouldn't
now,
be
as a
asking
person,
for the family though.
now you have to say, okay, look, we need more money. So either I need to get up and work, or you're gonna have to make more money. That's where the disconnect comes in, because the reality is 70% of Black couples, the woman works and brings in income, but she is
Well,
also
that's for
expected.
most
Well,
women.
then won't you call in next time he goes live?
Hold on,
So
wait, let me finish breaking
Well,
it
that's the
down.
reality of our
So this is
society.
where the ambition and the potential comes in. Now, when
That's the
I
reality.
married my husband, yes, I saw ambition and I see potential in him. I see the potential for him to grow as a man. The problem comes in
Yeah,
is when
yeah.
you put too much ambition and potential into a man, and you find out that he's really not working or cultivating himself off that, which is why Kevin Samuel talks about men having drives, wanting to make more, focus on your work, because the reality is that $37,000 grows real thin the more and more children you have. That
but that
thirty-seven
Yeah,
thousand
Okay,
dollars
I agree with you
grows
on that.
real
That's
Queen.
how
thin.
I know. Yeah,
but that's why you
not only
don't try
that,
to
Queen.
raise a family off of
the economy changes, so
$37,000.
your
Now, now,
income you're
Queen.
making now is not going to be worth
If you
5 years
try to
from
Queen.
now and
raise a
everything.
family off of $37,000 and the wife's not working, then you're crazy. That's why most people,
Right.
most couples, most married people, both the man and woman work, and that's regardless usually of the
Okay,
amount of money
so
they're
great.
But
making.
Queen,
So great. Hold on.
Queen.
Now he's going into my second point. I'm so happy you brought that up, because
Hmm.
now let's say my husband says, "Okay, this isn't working. Um, you need to go back to work." And I'm like, "Okay, baby, cool." So now I'm making, let's say my husband's still making that 37,000 and I start a job and I make 32. In 5 years, I jump up to 48. And let's say I cap out, because they say women tend to hit as Kevin had said, women tend to hit their financial cap of their earning potential in their 30s, like 35. So let's say I hit 35 and I done took my CNA class, and now I'm making an average of $55,000 a year. But guess what? For the last 7 to 10 years, let's say that my husband is still at that $37,000 marker, and he's
So
not doing anything to grow, and he's not doing anything to change that, but I have steadily been growing and
Yeah.
changing that.
so
That's where the disconnect
Yeah, but
happens.
no,
most
what is the
most
But
women
hey,
disconnect?
can't
You're
take
making
that.
more
Queen.
money.
Wesley,
This
they
is
can't take
this
that.
is America, 21st century egalitarian equal rights that women have fought for. You're making more money, fine, okay. Now you're the breadwinner. You're the one that making the most money. Why is that such an issue? This is what
It's
women
not
have.
an issue. Hold on,
This
wait,
is
wait,
what
wait,
women
wait.
have
It
fought for.
becomes an issue with Western women. They
No, it's
Queen,
disrespect
not.
the man
Queen,
But hold
because
on,
of the
listen.
financial
I hear
level.
you.
Queen,
They
I hear y'all.
disrespect him. They treat him like a
Queen,
child.
Queen.
They
No,
Okay,
okay.
you mentioned Queen. You mentioned Kevin on that particular part about the money. But did you see the other stream that he did when he started telling the woman, "This is what you trying to reach too far. A lot of you all
Yes,
not
I
gonna be able to get
agree.
these guys." And he said, "These guys are gonna be running a 37, 40, maybe thousand. You're gonna have to deal with that. Or either
Yes,
that, or you're gonna have to get a dog and die alone because
yes, I
what you're
agree.
reaching for, yeah, what you're reaching for is something that you can't have."
And I
So
think it's
that's when
sad.
he
I think it's
broke
sad.
that
But
down.
that's but
He
but
broke that
Us
listen,
down.
too don't have
listen,
more kids
hold
than you
on.
can afford.
Hold on,
Yeah.
listen, and I agree to that. And that's what I'm saying is that's where the disconnect. That's
There's no
I'm not
disconnect.
saying that you
There's
There
no
guys
is
are
no
wrong.
disconnect.
disconnect. There is no
There's no
disconnect.
disconnect there.
There
This
is
is
a
this.
there
No,
is
there's
a
The
not.
disconnect
commonality,
there.
the commonality is that the women will infantilize the man. They will treat him poorly because of his financial status.
Yes, a
And
woman
No,
will
and that's
tell a
I think,
man
hold on,
is
if
financially
I may.
abusing them if the man makes more money and he's making decisions based upon that. But then if a woman makes more money, all of a sudden now it's my man is weak. This
No,
and that. Blah 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 blah. But again, this is supposed to be the 21st century. This is supposed to be co-parenting. Both parents should be equal. Blah blah blah. But why is this such an issue if the man is making less money than
no,
the
you're getting I think that you guys are trying to say that I'm
you
putting it
said
on the
that
man.
yourself.
Hold on,
There's
wait,
no
You
wait,
you
wait.
you
disconnect.
said that yourself. You said
Please
the
hold
guy was
on.
making
Please
37
hold
You
and you
on.
just
kept
said that.
increasing.
Please hold on. I think that y'all are getting what I'm saying is the
There's no
disconnect is
disconnect.
for the women. I'm not
Let's
saying
put that
it's
word
for
out
the
your
men.
vocabulary.
That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. The disconnect is for the women. I agree with what you're saying. I understand. That's what I'm saying. I think you guys are thinking that I'm equating the disconnect to the men, but I'm like, no, the disconnect is for the women.
So it's on them. It's
Yes,
on
that's
them.
what I'm
Okay,
saying.
now
I'm
Queen,
sorry. I may have
That's what she
worded
was
myself
saying.
wrong in the
but
beginning, but
Queen,
yes, that's what I'm
what?
saying.
How do you feel about the fact that Kevin's told the women, look, you reaching too high. This is what you're gonna have to settle with. You're just gonna have to. That's when he made a statement later on that my desire is that the black educated woman get with the black man
Yes,
because they were reaching too far, and you said it's not going to happen because you're actually going in a percentage area that's not going to work for you. It's going to be a disadvantage of you. So it's best you go for the regular guy and call it a day.
yes, I
Because
agree.
you're a
I
regular
agree.
woman.
And did
Because
you
you're
hear
a
the
regular
other
woman.
stuff that Kevin Samuel said too?
Yeah, but you said there's disconnect there, and I think you've mischaracterized it. It's
How,
no, there's no disconnect there.
there is for women. Most
It's
women
just
She's
don't
saying
from
for the
understand
women,
that.
there was a disconnect for the women that the women don't get.
That's
See,
what the
it,
women are
we
struggling
get
with
it.
on the
We get
show.
it. It's the men as the women that don't get it.
Yes, thank
That's
you.
why they get over gamble their chances and fail at it. That's why
Yes,
they
thank you.
backfire on them. We see
That's
this
what I'm
all the
saying.
time. We
Thank
tell
but
you.
them all the time.
but it sounds like you were defending that disconnect or
No,
Yeah.
what
no,
you call
no, I
what you're
wasn't.
calling
That's
a
what
No,
disconnect.
she wasn't. She wasn't. I get what she was saying. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that the disconnect falls on the women. That's why I had to go back and reiterate myself because I think that you guys were saying, I think you were interpreting what I was saying as the disconnect being on the men. But I'm like, the disconnect is on the women. That's the thing. And I was like, I just wanted to explain what women are thinking about. And that's why the disconnect happens for women.
Yeah.
Like men, y'all understand that. I understand where you're coming from,
You
but I
said you
know that I
understood
am
them.
not the majority. So,
And because of
Yeah,
that,
she's telling from
that's
what a
why
woman thinks, and
the
that's why I agree with her on that.
that's
Yeah, like
why it makes it impossible to look at them as marriage material
So
because of
and
that disconnect.
yeah, we agree. Yeah, exactly. That's like Kevin even tell them, you got to be a wife in order for you to get a husband. They have to already learn to be wives, and most of these
Motherfuckers,
females calling they show from the show ain't wives.
half
they're
Period.
not. They're not. But
half
that's
them
why I asked the question.
heifers that call his show is burning ramen noodles.
Hold on, but let me but let me ask, that's why I asked y'all, did y'all also see the other part of the show? Because I get that y'all got that part, but did y'all see the other part of the show?
I've seen all of his programs, every one. So I know
Okay,
what he's
so
talking
then you
about.
would also know that Kevin Samuel said that at this point black people need to work as a team. If you can't provide for your wife to be a modern woman, then you guys need to work as a team.
yeah, no one's disputing that. Like if
Okay,
you like, like that's what I'm saying
But
is
he's
like
still your leader. He's still your leader. He is still your leader, regardless of what team you're talking about. He is in control of your family.
Yeah, like
yeah.
he always used the example with the Mexican community. The men work the lowest rated job, but they still get the highest submission from their women and stuff. Me being in New York, I see them all the time. Majority of them, they hustling out in the street, like selling fruits on the
Because they
driveway.
But
know
that's
They have
also
because
them
they
part
with
of
their
know
their.
the
wives with the
importance
But
kids
of
that's
on
family.
their
also part
backs,
of their
hustling
culture,
fruits on
though.
the streets, and they still come home with submission towards their husband and stuff like that. Yeah.
But
So
that's
why can't
also,
our women do that
but
toward us? And
but
we
that's
actually make more
also
money than
part
they
of
are.
their Hispanic culture.
Exactly.
Yeah, a
So
man got
So
to
it's
both.
just not because he's Hispanic; it's part of their culture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
yeah. But
So
I
you
mean,
can't.
And we not even smacking our women the way they are and everything. They
yeah,
women. We're
that's
not
what I'm
doing
saying.
that. But we can't get the submission from them, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like that's why we tell these females, like, yo, how you be demanding all this, and we've been treating y'all like equals even before the '60s, the way you think it is.
yeah,
It's
but
hold
all
on.
over.
We still be treated as the lowest value fruit in a
It's
lot of
all
ways.
over.
Like the
and
garbage
then
man of our community, the black man. Shout out to Charles Faulkner. He said it's a
That's fine.
he the
but that's
garbage
why I'm
clear men in our community.
yeah. I mean, but that's why just going back to the whole situation where
What
it's
black
the
man
thing
can learn
where
from
like
coaches.
I mean that, but also too like just as far as like money and ambition and that stuff. It's when it came to like financial issues because again like I said like I know married men who deal with this where it's like they are under pressure when it comes to like hey like it's not like you need to buy this now blah 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 it's a oh this new like house extension will look nice like a some type of like pond or something to build and that's going to cost money oh I like was it we need another car, even if you don't really need it now, you got to get another car and pay more money, or it's like, hey, we need to go on these trips, do this, blah, 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 this extra stuff. And it starts to become stressful. The person's going to have to work more. They're going to have to stress more. And then all of a sudden, what's happened? You're not here, and helping with the kids, this and that. But then the guy is working all this extra time to bring us all this extra money and just all the stress. I mean, again, I just want to get away from why people are divorcing me. I just want to get to the point that we should make divorce more equitable for the men, because if we do that, then one, you're going to have some of these women who see, hey, I'm not going to get all this stuff if I divorce, so maybe I should try to figure out a solution within the marriage for whatever we're dealing with. And if you do get it, at least the man, like I said, is not having to spend tens of thousands of dollars just to get the bare minimum for his kids, and then still maybe shell out child support, alimony, and what have you. If we do that, then I think that would help out so much with marriage, if it was just more equitable. So it would be like
the men that's scared of divorce, the men that's afraid of divorce or scared of the consequences of divorce and all that other stuff. That stuff you guys need to start fighting for.
No, that's one of the reasons why I would never get married in this country. It's
not going to work.
Okay,
I like to give it a little tip. I like to give it a tip.
I get you saying you would never get married in this country, but what are you doing to try to get those laws changed?
You don't change the laws. It's in the culture. The culture is defective. It's not going to work.
Right. So,
it's over.
So therefore,
you just like fuck changing it. I give up.
Okay, so you think it's a 1 year deal that I got to
nobody
in March get a bunch of guys with a bunch of
nobody said it has to be a 1 year deal, but the change got to start.
Yeah. We are going to fight for our rights. Blah 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 blah. Let's say it's not a 1 year thing. It's probably gonna, if it does happen, it's gonna probably be a multi-generational thing happen, because it didn't take a year to change it to where it is now.
But it has to start somewhere, though.
Yeah, it has to start somewhere.
We already see with all the civil rights and everything, all this protesting we doing everything, and technically it hasn't worked.
Civil rights,
try other different ways now.
Civil rights is done. Civil rights is done. There's a fork in it. It's done.
We already done. Civil rights is done. And technically it hasn't worked for all the black community guys. So we have to try another way. We have to try something more different that we have never tried before. Even to the point that, you know what, we have to put our pride aside, but we can still get it done this way.
I'm not trying to fix these heifers.
I'm not saying trying to fit. You ain't trying to save everybody. I'm not saying that. But you know, like I said,
Can I
why we take certain tactics that they're doing, get stuff in their favor, and use our advantage.
Mel, I wanted to speak after you, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna have to be the person that lights fire under some people's ass. Y'all may not like what I'm about to say, but I gotta say it.
Light fire under men.
It's not your. No, hold on. I gotta say this. If you are actively complaining about something and you're not trying to put the effort to change, like I hear y'all talk about shit like this, and it sometimes it gets under my skin, because I hear you, I agree with you, but at the same time, when we ask the question, what are you doing to change it? It's
I don't deal with Western women.
And I hate that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I hate that.
There's a whole thing called SYSBN.
You have the audacity to get up here and bitch and complain, but then this is the reason why. This is and this
so
is
why are you up here bitching and complaining with the men here?
Oh no.
No. We are some punk ass bitches who are just complaining about everything, this and that. So what does that say about you complaining with us? Why are you here? Why are you here complaining with the bitches? Okay, what does it say about you? No. So what's happening? What's happening? No. There's no solutions here. So why are you here? So why are you here?
Okay, Sistine, what are you doing with solutions? I'm about the end game now.
No.
What's your end game?
You're an end game.
What is your end game? No, I'm about to start with Queen Q on this. I see a lot of dudes complaining, talk so much, like constantly.
What the fuck?
I will complain, but I will say in this course that, you know what, I won't address the problems so we can have solutions to be found.
What the fuck is the solution you doing?
Okay, hold on, wait.
I asked you first.
No,
If
what
I
are you
may,
What
doing?
is you doing?
No,
to
what
the
are you
gentleman,
doing?
to the
What are
gentleman
you doing,
that
I
Mr.
mean,
asked
you've
me,
Mel?
already said it. You said I cash out of marriage market, dating market, period. Okay, I'm
Fuck that
fine with
shit.
that.
No, fuck that.
Don't do nothing.
What are you doing? What are you doing? So why don't you shut the fuck up and get out on
Why
your?
don't you shut the fuck up, goofy clown man? Shit.